Okay, I think we're live, everyone. Hello. The day has started. Yes, it's early, but it's going to be a party. Hopefully today is just like yesterday, and we are going to witness a glorious shit show right before our very eyes. Let's go ahead and tune in and hear what's going on. I don't know if Fani Willis is going to barge through again and wear a dress backwards and have a meltdown. We can only hope that Ghetto Fabulous shows up. Who knows?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Merchant.
I know that we are still in the middle of Ms. Willis, but we need to address some of the things that were said yesterday in court in regards to Mr. Bradley's privilege, things like that. Do you want to do that now, or would you rather do that before Mr. Bradley?
When you say address them, what do you mean?
Well, there's a couple different issues, but we've got the privilege issue is one of them. But I also, what I did was I drafted all my questions, and I thought I could give those to the court, opposing counsel other than do them, so we didn't have to worry about the privilege stuff. There were some allegations made. I had a transcript made of the proceeding yesterday. Some specific allegations that I think I should have an opportunity to review. Specifically that I had egregiously misrepresented, that things that I had said were patently false, and that all of that information came from Mr. Abadi speaking of Mr. Chopra. I spoke with Mr. Chopra, maybe we talked to him in the car on the way here on speakerphone, Mr. Merchant and I, and he said that he didn't tell Mr. Abadi any of that information, doesn't know where Mr. Abadi got it from. Mr. Abadi says that he did, and so, you know.
If there's any clearing of the air that needs to happen, and if we need to get to that, I think the right time would be once we've actually seen all the evidence that comes out. So
Thank you. I just wanted to let the board know. Thank you.
And in terms of the privilege issue, if you're planning to recall Mr. Bradley and you've actually typed out some specific questions, then yes, I think that would be helpful and might allow things to proceed a little more efficiently through his testimony. So if, to the extent you've got those typed out and are willing to provide those to counsel for Mr. Bradley and the state, I'd encourage you to do that. And before we call him, we can get into that as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I have a copy for the court. I have one copy for Evans. I know Mr. Abadi was objecting to privilege yesterday, but I think it's actually Mr. Evans that needs to do that.
Was Mr. Evans is here? Okay. All right. Anything else from any counsel?
Both the rule, make sure it's still.
Rule is still in place. All right. Not seeing anything else. If we could bring back in Ms. Willis.
Actually, Your Honor, the state has no further questions for Ms. Willis, so.
All right.
Ready to.
Okay, Ms. Merchant. Next witness.
I think we're about to hit the privilege issue.
We are about to hit the privilege.
There we are. Okay. Then do you need counsel need a moment to take a look at her questions?
Yes. So I've got a copy. Oh, I guess Mr. Evans.
And then do we have Mr. Bradley somewhere in the whereabouts nearby?
Mr. Chopra, I informed Mr. Chopra that he's still under subpoena. So
Well, him and his client.
Yeah, I'm also with Mr. Bradley, and he's actually not here today.
We need you to identify yourself for the record, sir.
Bro, this is such a shit show. Like, I don't even know what this is such a disaster.
Currently in as we speak, and his representation is on the way here as well. I'd love to be able to get one of you.
We have a copy of that.
I just want Mr. Evans.
Do you have a time estimate of when he's supposed to be here?
I have one copy of the questions.
Where's the doctor in relation to here?
Yes, at the very earliest, it would be free about 10 o'clock, 10 to 10:30.
All right, he's currently driving here as we speak.
He's at the actual doctor's office.
Okay. And
I think the council was informed of that last night, that he would not be here until at the earliest.
So people are running late. People aren't there. This is just carrying over from yesterday's shit show. What a pathetic disaster. This is where President Trump had to take his mug shot, by the way.
and then let me know when you're ready to proceed.
My part of it doesn't have to do with question. I understood yesterday. I know these gentlemen. You want me to wait until they have a chance?
Well, I think you're about to maybe make a legal qualification here, so why don't we hear what you got?
Yesterday, it sounded as if the witness was going to decline to answer any questions at all in relation to communications, or observations, or anything, be it independent source or otherwise, that took place during the time of the alleged attorney-client privilege relationship, which is 2015, I think, until the present. I understood that as referencing not simply attorney-client privilege communications, but what we commonly refer to under 1.6 as confidences and secrets, which are not covered by the attorney-client privilege and are not barred from testimony or evidence in a courtroom. But it sounded as if the court is going to have to order Mr. Bradley to testify, and then Mr. Bradley will have to take a position of whether he's going to follow the court's order, heed the court's order, or whether he's not. If he does, then we'll be able to get in hopefully the questions that Ms. Merchant has prepared on Mr. Roman's behalf. If he says, I'm not going to comply, then theoretically we're in a position in which the court will have to hold him in contempt. And then at that point, my guess would be that somebody would say, I would like him to have the contempt stayed while I take it up on appeal. So I'm just trying to play through where we're going to be. Because if we're going to do that, we might as well know this before we start putting them on the stand.
I think that's a good thing to flag now, and I agree that yesterday during the hearing there was some intermingling of 1.6 and attorney-client privilege, and now having had the time to kind of parse through that, and it does seem that there is a distinction between the two. One is not covered by the evidentiary privilege, and pulling the case of Tenet Healthcare Corp. 273 Georgia 206. Supreme Court doesn't make that distinction. So to that end, Mr. Evans, as we work through these issues, I would say that when Mr.
So court's just getting started. They're trying to figure out everything. So this is day 2. If you missed the disaster from yesterday, it was very unpredictable. A lot of crazy things happened. Fani Willis unexpectedly took the stand. There were lies. There was manipulation. There were contradictions. It got tense at moments. It was a disaster. I see you, Doug B, over on Rumble. How wonderfully odd this feels at 8 a.m. Good morning, Snake Pit. Yes, welcome in, everybody, whether you're on YouTube or Rumble. I know it's an early stream, but it was just worth it after yesterday to see if anything remotely close happens today.
That as well.
So I have objections to filing. You say you're going to file it?
No, that I'm going to use Mr. Bradley's testimony. I think it'll help, but we can wait and I can use it after it's the question that I gave Mr. Bradley.
All right, and counsel for Mr. Bradley, I'm sorry, can I get your name one more time? I didn't write it down.
Maybe I would.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ward, if we could get some regular updates of where he is and how he is progressing towards the courtroom. And then when everyone has had a chance to read these questions in the interim, let me know and we can take this up. Mr. McDougall.
I have a text message from one of Mr. Floyd's lawyers that he's logged in on the Zoom conference. Your Honor.
Okay. Is someone joining us by, thank you. Is someone joining us by Zoom that wants to appear for the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Chris Kucherov for Mr. Floyd.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kucherov. And I think we had a legal assistant here announcing on Mr. Floyd's behalf, but I think it would be better to have counsel of record. Any announcement in terms of Mr. Floyd's presence this afternoon, or excuse me, today?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I don't know. Did you ask a question?
Yes, sir. So Mr. Floyd joined us yesterday, but I do not see him here today. Do you have an announcement about his presence for today's hearing?
No, he will not be present, Your Honor.
All right.
We would waive his presence.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kucherov. All right. We'll be in recess until I hear from the parties.
Thank you.
What the hell? So now we're just going to be in recess until they figure this out. So I don't think that Fani Willis is going to take the stand again. Now, just to be clear, this is a hearing. This is not a trial. This is a hearing. Difference in a trial and a hearing. So now I guess we're just waiting. So while we're waiting for that, I can give you we can do a quick recap while I wait to see if anything, like, these people have no idea what the hell they're doing, which is, kind of par for the course. Again, you want to prosecute Donald Trump. You want to indict Donald Trump. And this puts it all into perspective right here. Hang on. I think there was a good highlight reel, if I can find it, with what happened yesterday, because truly it was amazing. What we witnessed yesterday was a complete and total shit show beyond belief. There's a good video for those that need to be caught up on the situation. Let me see if I can find it right here. History. I know I watched it last night. That one. Almost. Right here. Okay. So this right here, this puts it in perspective right here. Jesse Waters I like Jesse Waters, even though Fox News does that kind of suck. But right here, this puts it in perspective right here.
Merry Christmas. I know it's February. Happy Black History Month. But today we were given a gift. A gift we didn't expect, but a gift we deserved. The woman responsible for Donald Trump's mugshot appeared in a Georgia courtroom today for a hearing about whether she should be disqualified. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who's charging Trump with election interference, hired her lover to prosecute the case, paid him hundreds of thousands of dollars, which he used to take her on romantic vacations, foreign and domestic, and didn't disclose the relationship to anyone and didn't report any of the gifts he gave her at all. When Fani and her lover, Nathan Wade, were caught, they both lied to the court about when the relationship started, saying they started sleeping together after she hired him, and also claimed Fani paid Wade back for all of the trips. But right as the hearing began, their entire defense blew up when an eyewitness, Fani's longtime friend and employee, testified under oath that she saw Fani and Wade going at it.
Did you observe them do things that are common among people having a romantic relationship?
Yes.
Such as, can you give us an example?
Hugging, kissing, just affection.
All before November 1st of 2021, correct?
Yes.
That alone is grounds for Fani's disqualification and destroys the Trump-Georgia case for at least 2 years. So Fani and Wade's lie didn't even last until lunch. But as the hearing went on, we witnessed a hilarious display of some of the most preposterous lies and behavior that have ever been displayed in Fulton County. Fani's lover boy took the stand and immediately got Alzheimer's.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Ever.
This is God. Again, man, these are the people responsible for the former president of the United States of America and the front runner for the Republican ticket and the front runner to be president again. These are the people responsible for all of this. This is insane.
No.
You've never gone to a cabin with this?
No.
So Loverboy got off to a slow start. And then he admitted he was going over to Fani's condo all the time before she hired him, but not for sex, for documents.
Isn't it true that you would go to Miss Willis's house in South Fulton County? occasionally?
I've never gone to her house in South Fulton County.
You've never gone to her house in South
I've never
County?
seen her house.
You've never gone to a condo in either the East Point or Hapeville area with Miss Willis?
Wait, that's different. I have gone to a condo in Hapeville.
You would have been there, as you indicated, for many reasons, right?
Yes, Miss Yurdi resided there. Went to visit her. Maybe went to talk about a document that I received.
You would go to the condo to talk about a document that you received?
Absolutely.
Were any of the other attorneys visiting Fani's condo, reviewing documents? No, just Wade. After Fani paid $700,000 to prosecute Trump, Fani and Wade traveled the world together. How did they pay for these romantic trips together? Wade put it on his corporate card. But don't worry, Fani paid him back. They say, in more ways than one, their story is Fani reimbursed her lover with cash.
You said in the affidavit that you roughly shared travel, though, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this roughly sharing travel, you're saying she reimbursed you.
She did.
And where did you deposit the money she reimbursed you?
So if you're just tuning in, court is in recess right now. We're waiting. And I'll just again show you guys that really quickly. Let me pull that up just so everybody understands. Yeah, right here. Court is in recess, so we are waiting. I don't know if Fani Willis is going to take the stand again today, but we're doing a quick recap of yesterday's clown show events. And boy, it was glorious. Again, I had to catch up on a lot of this yesterday because I was live. I did like 4 live streams yesterday. So I jumped in on this a little later yesterday, but once I really started to see everything that happened yesterday, I truly couldn't believe it. I could not believe how crazy it was. It was a shit show.
It was cash. She didn't give me any checks.
And so all of the vacations that she took, she paid you cash for.
Yes, ma'am.
And you purchased all of these vacations on your business credit card, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Cash. How convenient. Now, I've met a lot of businessmen over the course of my career, and I've never encountered anybody who puts all of their romantic vacations on their corporate card and has their boss, who they're sleeping with, pay them back in cash and then deduct it as a business expense on their taxes. But Wade is a different breed. Wade says his law practice is mostly a cash business.
She was very emphatic and adamant about this independent, strong woman thing. So she demanded that she pay her own way.
Do you know the source of the cash?
So, dude, you can't make this up because they're contradicting each other, as you'll hear here when she comes into the situation here in just a minute, barges into court. She contradicts everything he's saying. They were caught lying. They were caught lying. And there's people out there that are still willing to cover up for them, including the judge.
Just that, out of her pocketbook. Yes.
You don't know where she obtained the cash.
I didn't ask her.
And the whole time that she was paying you in cash, you never said, hey, why do you have this amount of cash?
Why would Mr. Sadal, in my practice, people come into my law firm all the time with cash. I never question where they got it.
So the lawyer who's allegedly saving democracy by prosecuting a former president, an unprecedented case in the history of the United States, is a personal injury attorney who runs a law practice where clients regularly walk into his office with briefcases of cash.
Jesus.
And he doesn't ask any questions.
Did you go to the ATM with her?
No, sir. She didn't go to the ATM. She carried the cash.
Oh, and so she would give you the cash. Did you have a little place in your house where you just stack up all this cash that you apparently got to repay you for these benefits that you bestowed on her?
And Mr. Gillen, if I answered that, I'm putting myself in jeopardy. If I tell the world that I have cash someplace in my home, don't you think that could be problematic?
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the how can you have faith in any system that is behaving like this? Zinni Biscuit, thank you. I'm still triggered by her dress yesterday. Thank you. Let's see. Look up New York Times. It says if Fani is disqualified, it goes to Prosecutors Council to assign new prosecutor. The council's president is named Scandalakis. God is funny. Yeah, dude, this whole thing is just unbelievable.
All right, so who in the world would tell the world
Scandalous.
that they have cash at their house?
Scandalous. I'm tired.
More
as
on that
fuck.
later. Now, after Wade had been totally discredited, Fani's attorneys tried.
How about they just throw the whole fucking thing out? How about that? Okay. Like, how about they throw the whole goddamn thing out? That's the whole point here. This whole thing is a witch hunt, as Trump has been saying over and over and over and over again. Now, again, one more time, just so everybody understands, we are waiting for court. It's in recess because they have no idea what they're doing. Shocking to absolutely no one. So we're doing a quick recap of everything.
To prevent Fani from being called as a witness. When out of nowhere, Fani rumbles into the courtroom in hot pink and demands to take the stand.
And then
So she was not scared. I don't think that they had plans on her being there. And then she, all of a sudden, a lot of people are saying her dress was on backwards, by the way. Okay. I would actually like to point that out really quickly. Okay. So again, I'm not someone that would be considered a expert on fashion. I wear literally the same thing every day, but people are saying that her dress was backwards. All right. So right here, people are saying like her dress was backwards. Oh my God. And and the American flag was like sideways, upside down, like insanity, dude. Like you can't make up how much of a disaster this was yesterday. This truly was phenomenal.
When out of nowhere, Fani rumbles into the courtroom in hot pink and demands to take the stand.
And then suddenly he's changing. She files her financial declarations.
Did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about
The arrogance, like look at the arrogance she comes walking up with. Just arrogant as fuck. Like she is like, I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my time. Just, oh.
He's changing. She files her financial declarations.
Did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On January, this first January motion,
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion. So I don't know that it was a conversation. As you know, Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much.
For the next 2 hours, Fani was a hot mess, flailing and filibustering.
I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial. I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be.
Not so much that you're hostile, Ms. Willis, it'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Ms. Merchant's.
Thank you.
Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor.
Oh my God, dude. I've never seen a more unlikable human being in my life. I've never seen a more unlikable, arrogant, ghetto, fabulous weirdo in my life. Like, this is unbelievable.
Honor, not to mine.
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth, Judge. And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Now, after the judge admonished everybody, Fani admitted she and Wade had been dining out together for years before she hired him.
Maybe I went to his office once or twice, but maybe once.
And the purpose for going to his office would have been what?
No, she is definitely. I'm not going to say it's definitively more unlikable than Kamala's, but the problem is Kamala Harris is a very, very dumb human being, and she's not even like arrogant enough to believe she's not dumb. Like, she's really stupid. This bitch seems to think that she's smart. She has arrogance. She thinks she's better than everybody. Kamala's just dumb, like one of the dumbest human beings on the planet. There is the slight difference there.
We would have went to Mellow Mushrooms for pizza or Maybe he would have come for lunch. I'm sure we went by each other's office though, but not often, not a lot. We both grinded.
Oh, grinding. But they went to more than just mellow mushrooms. They went to Latin America, the Caribbean. And this was the part of the testimony where Fani was able to exhibit her intellectual credentials, credentials that you'd expect the DA prosecuting the former president to have.
You also said that he was a world traveler and had been on many of the continents.
I've been to 6.
Have you been on any of those continents with him besides this one?
Where's Belize? What continent is that? I'm not being funny. I don't know.
Let's say with the
I've been to
exception
the Belize with him. I've been to the Bahamas with him. I've been with Aruba with him. Don't embarrass me. I'm not sure what continents those are on. Whatever continents those are, that's where I've been.
Okay, Aruba's in South America, Belize is in North America. She sounds like she's on the streets getting quizzed by Johnny. They also went to Napa together. All of these trips going on Wade's business card. So what's Fani paying for?
I paid for a bunch of stuff. I think we did 2 different wine tours that you do, which are pretty expensive. I think I bought him, he likes wine. I don't really like wine, to be honest with you. I like Grey Goose. I bought him a bottle of wine while we were there, and the sippings that you do, they would pair champagne, chocolate, and caviar. It was a 3, and it was like 3 different things. Sweden, Russia, someplace else. I'll make that up. But that was the most expensive thing. That trip did not cost me a lot of money. I might have took like $750 in cash on me because we weren't gone very long.
The Fulton County DA is eating caviar in Napa while she's prosecuting President Trump. And her boyfriend paid for the flights with taxpayer money.
You cannot make this up. You can't. And this is who they have decided has the power to do this to a former president of the United States. Why? Because he challenges everything they stand for. This is a corrupt system. How can you have any faith in this system after seeing this? I mean, if you had the fact, I don't know how you had faith in the system beforehand, but now how do you have faith in the system after seeing this? Like, this is insane.
Where'd Fani get all the cash from anyway?
I always have cash at the house. That has been, I don't know, all my life. If you're a woman and you go on a date with a man, you better have $200 in your pocket. So if that man acts up, you can go where you want to go.
Where did that cash originally come from? If it didn't come out of the bank?
Dude, this is so ghetto. This is so ghetto. Oh my God. This country right now is an embarrassment because of shit like this.
Cash is fungible. We had cash for years in my house.
The money that you paid Mr. Wade, the cash, in October of 2022, you do not know where that money came from.
I do know where it came from. It came from my sweat and tears.
So the top law enforcement officer in Fulton County, Georgia, just announced to the world that she keeps stacks of cash at her house. And she carries wads of cash with her to Belize, wherever that is. So Fani proves she's not street smart or book smart and can't show any ATM withdrawals to prove where she got the cash to pay back Wade. Now, Wade testified that he went to Fani's condo to look at documents. Is that true? What else happened?
Yeah, I'm sure he came to visit. I can remember us going, I think the restaurant's Lickety Split. I can remember him picking me up, going to Lickety Split and ordering some food and coming and sitting at my table and eating. So I remember times that he visited me at that condo.
Yes, Lickety Split. Gotta love that place.
Lickety Split. God. We're still watching the court, which is in recess right now, waiting to see what happens today.
Rum raisin, rainbow sprinkles, the best. Now, at this point, the media had seen enough.
This is getting ugly and it's getting messy. And my guess is it's not going to get better.
It's about lying to the court. It's about potential financial gain on the part of Fani Willis. The issue is that her credibility is shot. It's a horrible, horrible look for her. I think this case is dead in the water. Fani Willis lied to the court. It's game over for her. She will be disqualified.
Whoo, Eve, when MSNBC says that, all right, that is next level. It's next level. I see I see you guys. Thank you for being here. Yes, you can drop Andrew's asking if we have a tip link, or was it Andrew? Somebody did. Oh, there it is. Is there a tip? Yeah, we can drop a Streamlabs link and I can pin that. So mods, whenever you get a chance, drop that Streamlabs link and I'll pin it. But when MSNBC is saying that, you know you're in bad shape. Now, again, just so everybody has a proper update, court is in recess right now. Let's hear what they have to say.
How could she allow anything to get in the way? How could she? You have to be beyond reproach to be able to stand up and try to pursue somebody at that level. And clearly, she made mistakes in deciding to work with somebody who she was having a relationship with of some kind. And there is some question as to the timeline. Did that relationship start before she hired Nathan Wade? Did it start after he was already hired and they were already working together? But again, it's just it creates this sort of sticky situation that really, I'm sure a lot of people watching and listening were thinking to themselves, why would she let this happen? Just completely unnecessary, like in tennis, an unforced error that she committed.
I got it, Cam, man. I got it. No worries.
Opening the door to these kinds of allegations when clearly she could have hired, just about anybody to take that job. For her to have hired somebody either that she was very, very close with or that she was having a relationship with, it just sort of looks bad. The optics of it are bad. And so, I think that watching her testimony yesterday was very, very interesting. And I know that talking to people about it, because everybody's talking about it, you really do hear people, sort of viewing it through their own personal lens. And so, that's, I think, partly what makes it so compelling and so interesting that this story is playing out, and it's being watched all over the world, and it's playing out right here in our backyard.
Yeah, certainly. And I do want to play some of her testimony for you from yesterday, just so you can hear some of the remarks that were made.
These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial. But I didn't give him money out in a contract. What happened? No, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
And again, some words from the Fulton County District Attorney herself as we take you back out here live to this courtroom, still in recess. Judge Scott McAfee saying he's waiting for parties to arrive in this evidence hearing. And that really is his focus today, is hearing evidence before making a decision on whether the Fulton County District Attorney will be allowed to stay on the case or if she's determined to be disqualified.
This is unbelievable. So let me mute that. Let's finish up this video right here. Here we go.
Probably a bad idea to have two sleazy lying lovers waste taxpayer money on romantic.
Well, let's back it up. So this is what the MSNBCs of the world had to say.
That place, rum raisin, rainbow sprinkles, the best. Now at this point, the media had seen enough.
This is getting ugly and it's getting messy. And my guess is it's not going to get better.
It's about lying to the court. It's about potential financial gain on the part of Fani Willis. The issue is that her credibility is shot. It's a horrible, horrible look for her. I think this case is dead in the water. Fani Willis lied to the court. It's game over for her. She will be disqualified.
Probably a bad idea to have two sleazy lying lovers waste taxpayer money on romantic vacations while prosecuting the president and then concoct the most unbelievable cover-up in Georgia history. But what do you expect when the jury forewoman was a giggly Wiccan?
What would your reaction be if the DA decides against bringing any charges after what you've seen?
I will be sad if nothing happens. I will be frustrated if nothing happens.
And if it was just a perjury charge?
I will be happy as long as something happens.
These cartoon characters don't have the pedigree to be in the same courtroom as the former president.
No.
But remember, this isn't a Fani and Loverboy scandal. It's a Biden scandal. The Loverboy, Fani, Alvin Bragg, Jack Smith's team, and New York Attorney General Letitia James have all been meeting with Biden's White House counsel, Biden's Justice Department, or with Kamala Harris. The Biden White House is overseeing the prosecution of his political rival. But just like everything Biden oversees, it's falling apart. Click here to subscribe to.
And I do have this video pulled up right here of this crazy person. So here we go. Again, just a reminder.
Personally want to hear from the former
I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
personally want to hear from the former president.
I wanted to.
This is insanity. This is truly insane. Truly insane.
Address and flag some of them, maybe answer some questions right here as we're waiting for court to resume. But taking you back out full here, you can see a rather empty courtroom, different from what it was 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, as Judge Scott McAfee sat down, started the hearing at 9 o'clock sharp, and then quickly realized that not all parties were in the court.
So while we're waiting on that, Trump did send a True Social out about this. Let's see. They're talking about the Georgia Fani scandal all over the world. In fact, by far, it is the number one. It is trending number one. Says they can't believe that the Georgia, the judiciary, the governor can be happy about this humiliating embarrassment. It was a fake case from the start. And now everybody sees it for what it is, a major league scandal. The legal pundits, experts, and scholars are all screaming that this witch hunt, which has hurt so many fine people, patriots, should be immediately terminated and permanently erased from everyone's memory. The stench of what has happened should shame Georgia no longer. It should get back to greatness and fast. So that is President Donald Trump talking about it. Holy crap, man. I mean, it really is wild. And, of course, there were some wonderful memes yesterday. We did hear from President Trump, from New York yesterday, which I thought was a pretty great kind of, it was a pretty great moment because of, if you watch these remarks from President Trump, every single person stops as soon as President Trump starts talking. It's pretty fantastic.
Last interview is October. The last news conference is November.
Yeah, you're right about that. I apologize. I'm going to go downtown to former President Trump.
So thank you very much. Everything that I've heard and read, even from legal scholars, said there's absolutely no case here. It's not a crime. This is not a crime. And when you look at what's going on outside of the streets, where violent crime is at an all-time high, I think it's a it's a great double standard. The other thing, this case could have been brought 3 years ago. There is no case. They decided not to bring it. The district attorney Bragg didn't want to bring it. He said he doesn't want to bring this case. But it's not a crime. We're here for something that is not a crime. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. What it is election interference. It's being run by Joe Biden's White House. His top person was placed here in order to make sure everything goes right. This is a terrible time for our country. This is a real dark period for our country. His top person, Colangelo and some others, have been placed into the DA's office to make sure they do a good job of election interference. There's never been anything like this in the history of our country. With all of this being said, I look outside, I look at the streets. It's so different from when I left New York. It's so different. It's dirty and it's crime-ridden. And today you walk down the street, you get mugged or you get shot. And they're doing this where literally legal experts, legal scholars said, They don't understand it. There's no crime, and there was no crime here at all. This is just a way of hurting me in the election because I'm leading by a lot. We're leading by numbers that nobody's ever seen before, and they figured this is their way of cheating this time. Last time they had a different way. This time they have something that's really down and dirty that frankly, no country does other than a third world country, a banana republic. So we're going to do our process. They want to rush it because they want to get it desperately before the election. And if it goes before the election, that's what they want to do. They don't care after the election. They wouldn't have brought this except for the fact, no way, except for the fact I'm running for president and doing well. If I were doing poorly, they wouldn't have brought it. And frankly, if I didn't run, they would have been extremely happy because they don't like me running and they don't like the numbers. The poll numbers have us beating him by a lot. So that's where we are. I'll talk to you later after. We don't know what's going to happen. We want delays. Obviously, I'm running for election. How can you run for election and be sitting in a courthouse in Manhattan all day long? I'm supposed to be in South Carolina right now, where other people are, and where, again, this is where I should be. I shouldn't be in a courthouse for something that virtually every legal scholar says they don't understand it, there's no crime. Even if he was guilty of something, there's no crime. So I will say that enjoy it. It's a sad thing. It's a sad day for New York. They really do. Look, I love this city and I love this state. They have to focus on violent crime that's taking place outside. You have a new form of crime now. You have migrant crime. Migrants are trying to beat up our police officers. They're trying to do things that we've never seen before, actually. We are going to have a problem with, I call it Biden migrant crime, because you have millions of people came into this place, this country that has been so badly hurt. And they're doing things that nobody's ever seen before. So you have violent migrant crime, and they're after me for doing nothing wrong. You know, I paid almost $300 million in taxes over the period of time. $300 million. And they say, oh, let's get Trump out. You have people that everything is politics in this city, including decisions and judges and everything else. It has to straighten out, and they have to focus on violent crime, not made up crime. Thank you very much. We'll see you later. Thank you.
What a Chad. What a Chad. So there's President Trump right there. So we are waiting for court to I guess come out of recess. So let me read some super chats really quick. Island Girl says, Jeremy, can you get Robert Barnes to pop in to comment? I would imagine Robert's probably doing his own stream. I don't know. I haven't talked to him. But Clutch City Fan says Fani is getting her fanny clapped legally. This is hilarious to watch. Piano Dean says, at one point she says, I don't need you mansplaining. And a minute later, I don't understand your question. Exactly. It's insane. Hayden Wayne for 10 says, I think she showed up just because Wade spilled so much while on the stand, laughing my ass off. She was trying damage control and just made it worse, as moronic, corrupt people tend to do. 1000%. I saw Magnum Norse in the house with a big $20 super chat. Jeremy, what happened with the ballots in the suitcases in Atlanta? Yeah, it's they closed that case. Same with the water pipes. They just that whole story just kind of went away. Pretty interesting how that works out, doesn't it? They don't tend to want to investigate anything that goes against their narrative. Lord Botha for 10 says, this is like the inverse of when Alexander Hamilton tried to prove he wasn't corrupt by telling everyone he was cheating on his wife through his own newspapers. If this isn't the W, or isn't the W you think it is. The Drunken Sailor says, hail the snake pit, bro. This is what affirmative action looks like with Fani and knee pads Harris, laughing my ass off. Wild. They're still like, so right now, let me hear what they're saying.
Forward in a way that you would expect from people charged with such an important job. And I think it will be very hard for Judge McAfee to ignore that when he considers whether to disqualify or not.
And again, taking you back out to the courtroom, still in recess, still waiting for Judge Scott McAfee to return and resume the court hearing. that would ultimately decide whether Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor on the Trump case, Nathan Wade, would face disqualification in Trump and 18 others.
I ain't saying she's a vote rigger, but Fanny only makes Trump's lead bigger. Had to be a little careful saying that for obvious reasons. Cole Halder says, if I had the choice of Amber or Fanny, I have no problem with Amber shitting them in my bed, guys. Stay away from Fanny. 199 Yojo, praise Allah, Trump 2024. I think everybody would pick Amber Heard over Fani Willis. Levistro says, I'm not on trial. You can't put me on trial. She says on trial. She's high and on the good stuff. Let's see. Ventus Bruma says, the one shining light in all of this situation, or the one shining light in all of this, this situation inspired Ramble Ranch to create Vote Rigger, one of my favorite memes last year. Yes, shout out to the Dilly meme team. Those guys crush it, man. It's been so many good memes. There was this great meme yesterday that I retweeted right here. Like, the memes have been glorious. Here's one right here. Vote Rigger gets gangbanged in court on Rigger Hub. And then it says, they got Machiavelli memes that made it hashtag Orange Man Bad. Just fantastic. Just fantastic memes. That's what the internet does. It's what the internet does. Joe C says the deep state is orchestrating this entire thing against Trump. Looks at all these people as useful idiots. 100%. Absolutely. Brandon the anime guy says, kick that corrupt POS out. If Fanny should be raked, or let's see, if Fanny should be raked over the coals forever. 100%. Alan Tanasi says, a witch, a Fanny, and a gigolo walk into a bar. They took a shot at the king and missed, unlike Alec Baldwin's trigger finger. Hail the 199. Thank you, Alan. Mexican Iron Man says, Trump the Chad plus fearless leader Jeremy equals winning combo. F Willis the DA ho. Yes, 100% on that. Thank you, Mexican Iron Man. Let's hear what they have to say.
The whole indictment involving former President Donald Trump and 18 others, as well as disqualify Willis, Wade, and the district attorney's office from prosecuting the case. Now, again, Judge Scott McAfee has had quite a passionate courtroom that he had to deal with yesterday. He ended up striking Fani Willis's testimony, at least giving her 2 warnings, I should clarify, about answering attorney questions within the context that they are presented. Of course, Fani Willis agreeing to those terms, but also pointing out that the questions are worded in falsehoods, and that is something that she remains strong in her stance. That Diaz.
Let's see. Randuar says, for $14.82, get some coffee or whatever beverage you choose. Thanks for streaming this shit show of a court case. Well, thank you over on Streamlabs. I appreciate that. I'm just doing my early morning water. That's all I drink pretty much.
This case. So we will continue to keep you updated, bring you live updates. Again, I just want to show you here our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. If you have the Atlanta News First app, it's a really good tool.
And then we have Magnum Norse says, for 20 says, hold on a second. Fani Willis was getting the D from Rico Suave, then running a fortification operation in Atlanta. This sounds like soft punishment before the king returns. Dude, there's again, I don't know how much time Trump's going to have to focus on holding so many of these lower level, the previous super chat had said, useful idiots. But I don't know how much time he's going to have to focus in on nonsense like that once he gets back in office. You would hope that he does, but at the same time, he's got a lot more pressing matters to deal with instead of dealing with corrupt, ghetto, fabulous people. But maybe he can task some people to bring them to justice. You know what I mean? Because this is just insane. It's insane that we live in a time where these freaks can have any impact on him with what he's doing right now. You know what I mean? So, AG will have plenty of time. Yeah, Trump has the ability to have a absolute rock star, team behind him when he goes into office.
McAfee said that not all parties were present in the evidence hearing, day 2 of this disqualification hearing, and that he was going to call a recess until all parties were present and in the courtroom. And that, as far as when that is going to happen, really any moment now, we can expect the judge to return, the parties to all be in the courtroom, attorneys and those involved in the evidence, the people giving testimony, the people weighing in. Again, Judge Scott McAfee making it very clear he wanted to hear from the innermost circle of both Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, and that has included subpoenas to Fani Willis's father, her ex-law partners, her former friends and current friends. Again, same with Nathan Wade, people who know their character, who know their professional work the best and their relationship to each other. That is all.
Are we getting the New York verdict today, AD? Holy crap. I didn't even know we were getting the verdict on that one. What time is that supposed to drop? Jeez, man. And where's Trump at today? Do we know where Trump is at? Is he in Florida? Is he in New York? I know he wanted to be in Georgia yesterday. But wow, man. Trump's just all over the place. On top of that, he's destroying everybody, and he's having to deal with all of this nonsensical Trump case. These ridiculous left-wing trials all over the place. So he's in NYC today. Yeah, it might be an all-day stream. We'll see. We shall see. Where'd the sound go? Did we lose sound? I don't have any sound on this now. Okay. Well, we're waiting, so have no sound yet. Yeah, like this is insane. I mean, he's been indicted now 4 different times. None of them have helped their case. They've only hurt, and they've helped Trump. Complete backfire. And here we are. Occupant 42 on Rumble says Trump needs us to elect a Congress that will support him. We need a MAGA Congress that will dismantle the deep state too. 1,000%. 1,000%. Krabby Patty says, I'm late. When did the stream start? We've been live for almost an hour, but nothing's really happened. We're still just waiting for all of this to play out. So yeah, we're just in the waiting game right now. No one apparently showed up for court today. So they're in a recess.
All right. Continuing to take you to this live look inside Judge Scott McAfee's courtroom as court remains in recess in day 2 of a disqualification hearing for Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. Now, as we continue to bring you some context into what all has transpired in the past day and the full timeline of events, the motion leading up to today's hearing, and ultimately what will be a decision on whether Fani Willis and Nathan Wade will be allowed to stay on the case. We are going to take you out here in a couple minutes to our Atlanta News First reporter, Rebecca Schramm. She has been outside of this courtroom and often inside the courtroom throughout this morning, following closely, speaking with some of the people involved in this hearing. We're going to touch base with her and just check in on the latest of what's going on here. Let's try to get her online now. Rebecca, can you hear us all right?
Now, a lot of technical difficulty there.
All right, Rebecca, I think we have you here. Now, court still in recess. We're monitoring closely on when Judge Scott McAfee is going to be returning, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit. You have been standing outside of this courtroom, following closely, minute by minute, all of the events that are happening in just the first 20 minutes of day 2.
Yes.
I've got a clip right here that I think we should watch. So I want everyone to prepare. The screen, it's going to scare you a little bit, okay? But just all right, so just prepare. If there are women and children in the audience, I'm going to do a screen share that's going to switch it over, okay? It's not a Halloween costume, but it is a scary image, okay? And there we go. Joy Reid is a big fan of Donald Trump. Clearly, as you see, she has a Trump toupee on. Let's listen. Let's listen in to see how they're holding up right now.
Was if standing on business was a witness. That was what we saw today. And what we also saw today, frankly, was a clinic in Black womanhood, and particularly high-profile Black womanhood, right? If you're a Black woman in this country, you don't have to be a district attorney prosecuting the former president of the United States to really understand what it means to have your integrity or your professionalism questioned, or the urge to defend your character or reputation, right? And so that's what you really saw on display today. Yes, she was angry, but she was also insulted. She was offended. If somebody thinks that they're being lied on, and especially Fani Willis, prepare to defend yourself, because that was exactly what she came to that stand prepared to do today of her own free will.
Well, and the thing is, Katie, you as a woman of color who have to stand in a courtroom, you know this all too well. Look, I have a book about this, about the way they did this with Murley Evers Williams. Be pretty, but not too pretty. Be, forceful, but not too forceful. Don't be loud. Don't be angry. Excuse me, if you're questioning my integrity and accusing me of hiring somebody that I was having an affair with, when I'm telling you the timeline and then asking, did my kids live at my house? You want to know how much money I have? Is he giving me cash? She was insulted, and rightfully so. This idea that women of color have to sit there and be demure and take it. There were people on social media who were saying, oh, she's coming in too hot. No, she wasn't. She was offended, and she had a right to be offended.
I literally can't add anything else. I can't add anything else that would make that sound any worse than just letting them say what they wanted to say. That's all you have to do is just let these clowns talk, because there's nothing I can add. Oh my God. What a complete shit show. Good Lord.
Specific questions about Ms. Willis, that is when he stopped answering questions. And he basically told the judge, look, I've been in touch with the bar, the Georgia Bar Association, and I've been instructed that I should not answer questions like this because it would violate attorney-client privilege. Well, that kind of posed a concern. And so he ended up being told by the judge, look, you may be called later, but for now, your testimony has ended. So sure enough, what has happened is the judge returned to the bench this morning and said, now that I've had time to review this, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compel Terrence Bradley to answer questions that are outside attorney-client privilege, things that he has observed, things that he knows to be fact. I will not allow him to answer questions that would violate attorney-client privilege. So now we are waiting for Bradley to return to the courthouse. He's the only one left. The defense attorney.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. We have video. We have located Fani Willis. Okay, everyone. So this is breaking news here on CobraCast. We don't do breaking news a lot, but we have located Fani Willis. Here's video right here. Okay, we have located Fani Willis.
अरे बड़ा सीधा सा जानवर है ओह माय गॉड
The defense and all the attorneys for Trump and the co-defendants would like to hear his testimony that the relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade happened before Wade was brought onto the case. That would show perhaps more impropriety. But as we were talking earlier, Maria, the situation here is looking pretty dark for the prosecution in the Trump case here because of all of this. And a lot of that has to do with the mere fact that I don't think anybody would disagree that Willis has made some serious misjudgments in this case. She has taken some missteps here. Now, whether she was trying to deceive anyone or take money that, from these vacations and that sort of thing, that's unclear, but surely this is going to be a situation where it just doesn't look good for Fani Willis. So we'll send it back to you, but a lot to watch as this case continues to unfold.
Rebecca, thank you so much. And again, we will look to you for our Atlanta News First News at noon, where I know you'll have a live report and an update for us into this hearing. All right, thank you. So taking you back out to this courtroom here, as you can see, still in recess, still waiting for Judge Scott McAfee to return and resume court.
So we got some, let me catch up with some more super chats really quick. Again, welcome everybody, whether you're on Rumble or YouTube. I appreciate you being here. We are waiting for court to go back into session. But let's see. Van says, ain't nothing but a thing. And yeah, keep me posted on what's going on in New York, because we have all that going on as well. So a very busy day. Stonk Puppet says, feels like Juicy Smollett will be next to take witness. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be great? Enoch JB says, all day stream, more likely to be an all night stream for me over here in Israel, followed by the salty restream end of a hard week's work. Hey, brother, I appreciate you, man. America 76 says, directed verdict in New York. Ingeron, I don't know how you say his name, found Trump company guilty before trial, like what happened to Alex Jones. Ingeron is assigning penalty today. Pure communism. Yeah. All right. Keep me posted on that. Magnum Norris says, I need justice for this level of criminality. What the fuck? I heard that, man. Magnum Norris says, I bet that tall, dark man was putting his mini-me into that Fani. Bearded Llama says, now that we inundated the torture, give us some Haba. Some Alina Haba is a palate cleanser. Let me see if I can find something. Dave Nunn says, I'm bleeding from my eyes and ears, bro. Haba fix. Man, you guys want an Alina Haba fix to kind of clear up the disaster known as Joy Reid? Sure, we can. You know, I mean, we could all use a little Alina Haba, can't we? Okay. I agree with that. Let's see here. Find a good, let's see, Alina Haba. There's a really good one. And again, I just think she's a really talented individual. Really respectable. I think this is it right here. Let's see if we can find that. All right, so here we go. Just as a palate cleanser for everybody. There we go.
Not a coincidence. This is election interference at its finest against the leading candidate right now for president, for either party. President Trump is under siege in a way that we have never seen before. President Trump and his legal team and everyone on his team will continue to fight, not for him, but for the American people.
All right, there you go, chat. So I don't want to, because I don't want some people tuning in thinking this is live or that's live or something like that. So let's hear what they have to say.
Decide whose argument is presented best and what the decision would be, whether to keep Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade on the Trump RICO case, or whether to disqualify them and send that entire case to another prosecutor.
I am currently just looking over Twitter to see if there's anything else as far as like the New York stuff. Again, feel free to tag me on Twitter if you see anything that you think I need to be aware of that we can cover here. Let's see. Okay, that's not news. Let's see. There's so much going on right now. And there was another clip I wanted to show you guys really quickly, if I can find it. I had a lot of bookmarks. Yeah, like, didn't she say, yeah, Fani Willis the other day said she has not been to the White House. That turned out to be a complete and total lie, by the way. She 1000%. There's a record of her going to the White House, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. There's the vote rigor story. By the way, did you guys hear about what's his name? The guy from what's the guy? Sean Evans, the guy from that. what is that show where they eat the wings? But his girlfriend, apparently, like, he posted a picture of his girlfriend. I guess it might have been at the Super Bowl or something. I don't know. And turned out that she was like an adult film star. I guess he didn't know about it, so he broke up with her on Valentine's Day, and it went mega viral after he broke up with her. What a complete, like, everything's fucking crazy these days.
Court to resume, I did just step
yeah.
away to talk offline with a reporter on the ground, Rebecca Schramm, just to get as much notice of when we can expect court to resume, or at least when that last party will arrive in the courtroom. That will be the best indication for us on when.
Why does y'all's audio keep going in and out? You guys got to figure that out, Atlanta. Honestly, this news station does a better job of running their broadcast than the court system there, for sure. So again, if you're just tuning in, we are in recess currently waiting. I wanted to show you this since I brought that up about the hot ones, because I've heard so many people talking about this guy. What's his name? Like Adam something. He's like yeah, right here. Okay. So this whole story is very
All right, just stepping
strange.
away momentarily to get some additional details,
Oh,
maybe
hang on.
a time when court is expected to resume. Right now, no word yet, as the judge is waiting for parties involved in this evidence hearing to appear before he proceeds with the day. As soon as that happens, we will take you back out live full. For those of you watching on our YouTube live, I am seeing all of your comments. Please, if you have any questions, any additional
I'm behind.
clandestine personal relationship.
There we go. Yeah. I was
The
behind.
allegation here isn't whether Fani Willis and Nathan Wade had a romantic relationship. The allegation being discussed here is whether Fani Willis and Nathan Wade misused taxpayer money and crossed ethical boundaries in pursuing Trump's RICO.
I don't think it's a question anymore. Now, again, I am not a lawyer, but it's clear to me, and I think it's clear to every single person that watched yesterday's proceedings. I don't think it's a question anymore. It's pretty much a fact. It's pretty much a fact that they misused their funds. They lied about it. They lied to the court. This whole thing has been compromised. It's absolutely insane. Jocelyn, member message 10 months, says, just got my driver's license after years of living in fear of being on the road. You all inspired me to do just to just do it. Passed the test on my first try. 199. Look at that. Congratulations. That is awesome. I'm really happy to hear that. Look, at the end of the day, like, driving is always an intimidating thing when you're first doing it. I would just encourage that you just pay attention, obviously, and always, always, always mind your surroundings. When I'm driving, I am adamant about always knowing where cars are around me. And as long as you are driving for everyone else on the road, then you're going to be fine. Meaning, make sure you're aware of everyone else and keep your, and I drive so much that I can't even imagine how many miles I've put just in the last few years. I've driven to California multiple times. I've driven to New York. I've driven from Florida to New York to Vegas, from Vegas back to Florida. I drive everywhere. So, but congratulations on getting your driver's license. That's awesome. But I'm a very, like, I'm always driving for everybody else. Nikolai says, let's see, you can take the person out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the DA and the dude she's been banging. Magnum Norris says, this girl sounds like she hates Trump, but cannot deny the facts. Linko Kenobi for 50 says, what's up, Jeremy? I streamed about this last night along with a review of the last episode of Halo. And with the non-binary morph in X-Men, do you know what time FNT starts? Because I don't want to miss my chance to reverse my spot. Hail the one to reserve my spot. Hail the 199. 4 p.m. Eastern is when FNT starts. Geeks and Gamers Daily is going to start in about 45 minutes. As long as this is still going on, I'm not going to be on daily, but Jay and Ryan will be holding it down over there.
posted last night or yesterday evening, I should say, from former president onto his media platform, Truth Social. He also went on to say that by going after the most high-level person and the Republican nominee, referring to himself, of course, she was able to get her lover much more money, almost $1 million, than she would have been able to get for the prosecution of any other person or individual. So former President Donald Trump's argument here is that he is being prosecuted and pursued by Fani Willis just as an attention grab or a career grab, essentially. But ultimately weighing in that he believes she deserves to be disqualified, of course, because that impacts whether she pursues him or whether another prosecutor will take on the case, and ultimately whether the case will see trial. Now, talking a little bit about Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, he was paid more than $650,000 by the district attorney's office for his work on the Trump case. That began all the way back in 2021. That is directly, according to county records. Trump's Georgia attorney, meanwhile, said that Willis has failed time and time again to, quote, provide full transparency in her response regarding the relationship, regarding the financial transactions. That was center focus for yesterday's hearing, was how the district attorney's office was using funds and how those funds and the spending of those funds played out throughout the timeline of Fani Willis and Nathan Wade's personal relationship. Take a listen to some of what she said.
You think I'm on trial? These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial. But I didn't give him money out in a contract. What happened? No, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
God.
And again, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis.
It's like a bad hood comedy movie or something, man. Like, it's like we're watching Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. I don't know how many of you remember that movie. It's a fantastic movie, by the way. But that's what this seems like. That's what it really does feel like. That's what we're witnessing right here. And it's pretty fantastic. Holy crap.
And Mr. Wade's were easily considered evasive. I don't believe they answered the questions forthrightly and straightforward in a way that you would expect from people charged with such an important job. And I think it will be very hard for Judge McAfee to ignore that when he considers whether to disqualify or not.
And again, taking you back out live to this courtroom as we are still waiting, now 10:16, for the return of Judge Scott McAfee and all parties that he said were missing from this evidence hearing. As soon as that last person really returns, we do expect that court will resume. I have been talking to our reporter, Rebecca Schramm, who you just heard from moments ago, standing outside of the Fulton County Courthouse, just weighing in on the moment right now that everyone's waiting for this hearing to get underway, to hear from that last person who heavily tied to and involved in Nathan Wade's divorce, and to ultimately speak on the relationship between Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis and the special prosecutor and any financial actions that have come out of that. I think, again, making sure that we clarify for you the center focus of these allegations from attorneys is the
BMO Better says, good morning, Jeremy. Check out this plugin for Rumble Rants. It's called Rant Stats. It can be found at rantstats.com. Viva and Comics have been using it. I know that the Hailstorm had a plugin that he was telling me about the other day. I don't know if that was it or not. But I will see. I will copy and paste that right now into our chat to make sure. There was one that he had found. Him and Jed were both very happy about it. But I don't know if that was the one or not. But let's see here. I'm putting this in the chat right now. Let's see. All right. So, yeah, the memes were glorious yesterday. I'm actually looking at some of them right now. And we're just going to continue to wait this nonsensical kangaroo court out, I guess, and see what happens. Bruce Flash, what's up? Says TDS, when you're so delusional that you put your clothes on backwards. Yes, Fani Willis with her clothes on backwards. Good Lord, man. What a disaster. What a disaster. And we've lost audio again. I don't know if we've lost audio or as much as they're just, they're probably muting themselves because, again, they probably weren't prepared to fill all of this time. They were just hoping that there was going to be a shit show. Fani Willis has decided to not take the stand today. That speaks volumes. That speaks volumes as to how bad of a job that she did yesterday, because she certainly did do a bad job. It was a really big disaster. But if you want to see MSNBC's meltdown, we'll watch that one more time because it's just too damn good. Again, I'm warning you in advance when I share my screen. It's going to be a little jarring, okay? It's going to be a little jarring, but just hang with this, because this right here, this is absolutely hilarious. And just listening to these clowns, it's glorious. So here we go right here.
Was if standing on business was a witness. That was what we saw today. And what we also saw today, frankly, was a clinic in Black womanhood, and particularly high-profile Black womanhood, right? If you're a Black woman in this country, you don't have to be a district attorney prosecuting the former president of the United States to really understand what it means to have your integrity or your professionalism questioned, or the urge to defend your character or reputation, right? And so that's what you really saw on display today. Yes, she was angry, but she was also insulted. She was offended. If somebody thinks that they're being lied on, and especially Fani Willis, prepare to defend yourself, because that was exactly what she came to that stand prepared to do today of her own free will.
Well, and the thing is, Katie, you as a woman of color who have to stand in a courtroom, you know this all too well. Yeah, look, I have a book about this, about the way they did this with Merle Evers-Williams. Be pretty, but not too pretty. Be, forceful, but not too forceful. Don't be loud. Don't be angry. Excuse me, if you're questioning my integrity and accusing me of hiring somebody that I was having an affair with, when I'm telling you the timeline and then asking, did my kids live at my house? You want to know how much money I have? Is he giving me cash? She was insulted, and rightfully so. This idea that women of color have to sit there and be demure and take it. There were people on social media who were saying, oh, she's coming in too hot. No, she wasn't. She was offended, and she had a right to be offended.
So they want representation. We got to have more representation. And then you get your representation, and then you get held accountable for the job that you were hired for, the same job that you claimed needed more representation. When you are a district attorney, when you are working for the government, you actually have to, carry yourself in a certain way, or at least that's the expectation. Oh, is Judge back? No, he's not back. Never mind. I thought I saw the judge walking back in for a minute. But yeah, so, I mean, now because you got the diversity, you got the representation that you wanted, and now you're playing the fake victim because you're having to be held to a standard for the job that you want every fucking time. Every fucking time this happens. It happens in the entertainment world. You're constantly hearing these clowns talk about, we need more representation in movies. And then you get into movies, and then those movies get criticized because they're not good. And then you claim it's racism. It's like, my God, just social justice freaks, man. Social justice freaks.
We did see former Georgia GOP chair David Schaefer in attendance. We also saw former Atlanta Mayor Shirley Franklin, former DeKalb County CEO Vernon Jones, Steve Sato, of course, in the courtroom representing former President Donald Trump, Ashley Merchant, who, as you heard from questioning Fani Willis throughout her testimony, the district attorney and the attorney, Ashley Merchant, and John Merchant presiding for Trump co-defendant Michael Roman. Again, a very fiery discussion, very passionate line of questioning, and Fani Willis's response. The attorneys, again, representing co-defendant Michael Roman, are really at the center of this. This stems from a motion filed on behalf of Michael Roman that ultimately alleged that Fani Willis.
Let's see. Honky Kong says, let's fucking go. Fani is a fracking joke. Golden Nugget says, apparently it's pronounced Fani, Jeremy, you fog. Yeah, I've heard people say that. I prefer Fani Willis. I'm not saying Fani. Fuck that. Just like I'm not going to call, what do they say Kamala Harris's name is? They say it's Kamala? No, it's Kamala. All right. And by the way, Kamala in WWE, WWF back in the day, that's the Kamala I know anyway. That's the better Kamala. So let's see, man, a woman, when's she getting called out for transphobia? I heard that, Golden Nuggets. Mike has bad knees says, what I found super interesting was how her tone switched from when the lady was questioning her and when the white man started questioning her. She cooled it with all the sass when the man came in. That is true. That is true. I did notice that as well too. And yeah, so again, yeah, she's decided she's not going to be take the stand today, which again, that to me shows you how bad everything went. And I guess she finally had people go, dude, do you know how bad this was for you? Do you know how bad this was? This was a horrible, horrible look for you, for the case, for everything. The more you said, the worse it got. And so I'm okay with that. I am certainly okay with that. Let her bury herself. Let's see what they're saying. Nothing from the court right now. So again, they did, the court did, start, everything started, and the judge was asking, I guess there's, so we'd established that Fani Willis will not be taking the stand today. There are some other people that they are looking to question. I guess the judge is giving them time to get to the court. So yeah, I could have gotten a few more hours of sleep. Thanks. But hey, it's the Atlanta court system. It's the Fulton County court system. What do you expect? Again, the fact that they made President Trump have to go and deal with this nonsense. This is where he took his mugshot. These are the people responsible for Trump taking his famous mugshot, which will probably almost guarantee him to be reelected. Let's see. Angry Gaming Dad says, Jeremy, you're pronouncing it correctly. She just doesn't like her name. Just like my middle school teacher, Mrs. Gross, told us to pronounce it Gross. Well, if Fani doesn't like being called Fani, that's all the more reason to call her Fani. So absolutely. So we will continue to call her Fat Fani Willis. And again, I'm not in the breaking news business, but I know that we've gotten some new people in here. So we did have exclusive video of Fani Willis. If you guys are interested, would you guys like to see the exclusive video of Fani Willis? Just let me know in the chat. Let me know. We do have exclusive video of her today, and for the reason why she's not in the court. So let's see. Fani and Willie, big Fani. More like saggy Fani. I'm a big fan of her bigger Fani. All right, you guys want to see our exclusive video here obtained by our reporters here at CobraCast. This is why Fani will not be in court today. Again, breaking news. Here we go. Right there it is.
अरे बड़ा सीधा सा जानवर है Oh my God. Ooh.
So that's why Fani's not in court today. So that was exclusive video obtained here by our prestigious reporters here at CobraCast 199. Oh man, the fact that we've been here an hour and a half and nothing has happened is insane. Paul Stella says, every time I hear this bitch's name, I think of the bachelor party scene in American Wedding. Man, I haven't watched those American Pie movies in a long time. I'd like to watch those again. I have not watched those in a long time, though. Okay. Well, we are still.
You want me to look at?
All right, and as
Here
we
we go.
continue, court remaining in recess, but we just want to bring in some context, background, and continue this conversation as a lot of details have stemmed. I want to now bring in Atlanta News First reporter Adam Murphy. Adam, you have covered court proceedings, court hearings, this one being historic all on its own, but watching this from a journalistic perspective, from being in Atlanta for so long, I mean, what comes to your mind?
Stunning. I mean, like most people, I think, that saw the testimony yesterday, they were glued to it. I was glued to it. It was actually difficult to kind of do what I needed to do yesterday. I was working on a completely different story, but was just enamored by what was going on. I mean, this is really historic. I mean, it's historic in itself that a RICO case has been brought against a former president, and then now this, and this is just one big giant mess, quite honestly. I think it's really interesting that we heard the testimony, obviously, of the lead prosecutor, Nathan Wade, and then out of the blue, we weren't expecting the district attorney herself, Fani Willis, to actually come into the courtroom, but I think she was so disturbed and upset by some of the things that have been said, she just marched into the courtroom and took the stand, asked to take the stand. She came in, she was visibly upset, frustrated, somewhat at times, I think I would say a little bit defensive, but yet she wanted to make a point. And what's interesting about all of this is it's going to be a difficult decision for the judge. And I know the judge has said,
no, it's not.
We're not going to decide in the courtroom. I'm not going to come down with a ruling in the courtroom. But really what this all boils down to, it seems like, and there's a lot of, details about the personal relationship that, it became center stage, I think, with a lot of the testimony yesterday. But at the end of the day, this is really all about whether the money that they received, that Nathan Wade received, obviously, to do his job, was used for them to go on lavish trips. And what their story is between Nathan Wade and Fani Willis is that this money was reimbursed in cash. So what makes this interesting is there's really no proof. That's their story. They're sticking to it. One might argue, well, gosh, if you were in a relationship, you guys were going on these trips and you're prosecuting a former president, you would want to have some sort of receipts or documentation to show that you did reimburse money and there was no use of these tax dollars. But at the same time, we're talking about cash, and it's very possible that, she could have paid back the cash. And if she didn't pay back the cash,
she
well, then
did not.
This thing is not as big of a deal as one might think. And I think she continues with the case if that's true.
Fuck off. That's not true.
What's so interesting about this, Maria, it's going to be a 50-50 call by the judge, I think, based on whether he believes their testimony.
It really is. I think we were talking to Atlanta attorney Josh Schiffer, who said this is going to be a difficult decision for Scott McAfee to make. But some of what's been playing out both yesterday and going into today.
This clown's going to sit here. So this bitch is on record. All right, with all of this corruption. And this clown is going to sit here and try to say, well, there's a chance that, she just paid it back in cash without any documentation. No, the fuck there's not. There's absolutely no chance of that happening. None. So we're just going to believe that Fani Willis, after all the corruption, all the lies, just paid back the money in her own cash without any documentation whatsoever. Get the hell out of here, man.
in day 2 of the disqualification hearing to arrive. And that last person still outstanding is Terrence Bradley, whose testimony is now being compelled after he said that he was advised by the State Bar of Georgia to not testify about the relationship of Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade and Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. The judge presiding over this case now saying, that's not good enough. You are now being compelled to appear and to testify and to answer questions as we continue to hear evidence in all of this. And that has really been the theme here, is getting an idea from the innermost circle of both Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, and getting an understanding of what their relationship was and the timeline in line with the accusations made by attorneys on the mishandling of taxpayer money and any ethical boundaries that were possibly crossed.
Well, Maria, also too, you talk about what we're waiting on. Yeah, that's right. I mean, there was some anticipation that Fani Willis might actually return to the stand today. I was listening this morning to you here on ANF Plus and heard everything in the courtroom. They talked about the fact that the state had said no further questions. She wasn't coming back. And then it was a matter of this next witness arriving at the courthouse and coming in and testifying. And that individual was not there. So they've been waiting, and they went into recess. I think it was interesting too. This may be a factor, and should be, I think, in the judge's overall decision here at the end of the day. And that is the former employee in the DA's office that testified, I believe, early on yesterday via Zoom, and talked about this relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, her noticing a relationship of some sort taking place around the office, I believe dating back to 2019. Am I right about that, Maria?
I do believe in her response to the motion filed by attorneys for my.
I heard Fani had a run-in with a car. I'm not going to confirm or deny that this is or isn't Fani Willis, but let's take a look and see. I'll let you be the judge. Does this resemble Fani Willis? Damn! Fani Willis. This is why Fani Willis is not showing up today in court. She had a little accident. Damn! Yep, so there you go.
This relationship had been going on and when it began will be very important for the judge to decide, because it's a big factor in the overall decision as well. So it's going to be, I'm sure, some more interesting testimony that we'll see throughout the day. It's just a holding process at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. And I just want to point out some of the interesting parties that were in attendance for this. You obviously are going to have the attorneys, the people who are testifying, but we also saw former Georgia GOP chair David Schaefer. We saw former Atlanta Mayor Shirley Franklin, former DeKalb County CEO Vernon Jones. This has captured a lot of interest, of course, locally, but also on the national stage, as you see many of these characters. And I think we were talking to another attorney here in Atlanta, Suri Chada Jimenez, who said, it's just good TV.
It certainly is, you know, and it's the classic, although this is not like a criminal trial, you know, you think back to some of the big trials in history and people stop what they're doing and they watch, and it's fascinating. And this has caught the attention, not just of residents in Fulton County, the state of Georgia, but across the country. And obviously,
well, you know, since everything's kind of crazy right now, I think we need to bring some things back to normalcy, okay? America needs the normalcy back, and this stream needs a little normalcy, okay? And I know, like, it's my job to make sure we're presenting a very fair kind of perspective across the board. So I know I criticize, you know, the left and identity politics and all that, but you know what? Let's listen. And we have a word from the Biden administration. Okay. We have a word from the Biden administration really quick while we're waiting for court to, you know, kind of get back from recess. We've got a word from the Biden administration. All right. Really respectable message from the Biden administration. So let's listen in to someone that clearly is not suffering from any mental health issues or anything like that. Let's listen in.
Hello, I'm Admiral Rachel Levine. This Black History Month, I'm pleased to partner with OMH in advancing better health through better understanding for Black communities. Climate change is having a disproportionate effect on the physical and mental health of Black communities. Black Americans are more likely than white Americans to live in areas and housing that increase their susceptibility to climate-related health issues. And 65% of Black Americans report feeling anxious about climate change's impact. Through our Office of Climate Change and Health Equity and the Office of Environmental Justice, we're working with providers and community leaders to identify innovative approaches that empower communities to address the health consequences linked to climate change. Visit hhs.gov for more information and tune in next Thursday to hear from another HHS leader on how you can contribute to advancing better health for Black communities.
For more information, visit hhs.gov.
Yeah, everything's going well. Everything's going well. Man, our country's just doing great. Our country's just doing great. Man, we're in really good shape. We're in really good shape.
Could mean that if another, district attorney gets a hold of it, they might say there is no case here, or there is no RICO case. Maybe there's a different way to go about it. But this is a significant hearing that is happening right now and can change the outcome of this case potentially. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, certainly. And I just want to play some of what we saw play out yesterday from the district attorney herself, some of her words and reactions to the line of questioning she was receiving during her testimony.
You think I'm on trial? These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial. But I didn't give him money out in a contract. What happened? No, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
So again, some sharp responses and again, fiery testimony from Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. We were all glued in here at the newsroom to all this. I mean, it was hard not to watch every single moment as it happened over the course of several hours. Just talking a little bit about her response. Of course, she is defending this allegation that she misused taxpayer funds, that she had crossed ethical boundaries in her relationship that she has acknowledged happened with Nathan Wade. But she is standing firm in saying that at no point was she unethical or had misused those funds. The only thing that had happened was that there was a personal relationship, which is not illegal or grounds in her mind for disqualification.
Well, this is, obviously.
Let me read some super chats really quick. I see you on Rumble. Rumble is popping today. What's up, Rumble? Lord of the Ree says, woman o' color, like a bit o' honey. What a bunch of chikes. Let's see. Doug B says, that was Trump's car she hit trying to chase him down. And then Doug B says, damn you, Jeremy. Yeah, listen, I take the criticism, okay? I take the criticism for sure. Let's see here. Hugh Jazz says, Jeremy, speaking of hippos, did you see Dankula's video on Pablo Escobar's hippo attacking people in Colombia? I have not seen that one. So these are highlights yesterday. Let's listen.
And she was.
Oh no, they're still. That's just B-roll. Golden Knight says, wait. Her excuse is I paid in cash, bro. Yes. This is insanity, man. Meme TV says sent you something on Twitter DMs. I think was it the meme that don't be a menace to South Central. I think I liked it. I'll check it out though. Let's see. JJ Oli says Steph just died somewhere after that clip being played. Super Sentai guy says, hail the 199. Do you think they'll let Fani off? Well, I don't think that she's going to be punished personally, but I do think that her court case, like she probably could be removed from that perspective, but like criminally, punished or anything like that or fired, I don't think they'll go that far because she'll just scream racism. Magnum Norris says this woman who hates Trump cannot deny the criminality from the Dems. No, you can't. You can't at all. I mean, it's insane. It's a complete shit show. Can't wait for the recess to be over.
And so the implications to come out of that, the question of who's going to be prosecuting former President Donald Trump and the 18 co-defendants in this RICO case, what Fani Willis's involvement will or won't look like, that remains to be seen. And that is an answer that we might not be getting today.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's really significant here too, depending on what happens with this hearing and whether the Fulton County DA's office continues on this case or not, you have to remember we have an election in November. We have a presidential election in November. And you'll recall DA Fani Willis talk about how she wanted to get this thing rolling and in historic proportions. I mean, she talked about having all these, 19 different co-defendants, right, in this RICO case, and she wanted to have all of them tried before the election. And this does not bode well at the moment for accomplishing that goal. And so if this case, if she's disqualified and it's moved somewhere else, the likelihood of this being tried before the November election is slim to none.
Well, let me ask you this, hearing Nathan Wade's testimony, hearing Fani Willis, hearing some of their friends and innermost circle, what are you looking for out of today, or what do you expect will happen as really all of us tune in and nationally the country tunes in to this if just fiery and passionate testimony that's going to continue to play out now in the evidence portion of this disqualification hearing?
My feeling is it's like there needs to be a little more investigation into the money trail, because that's going to be the determining factor here. And right now, without a trail, and we're talking about the testimony yesterday from Mr. Wade and Mrs. Willis about reimbursing Mr. Wade in cash, there's no trail. And so I feel like we need some more evidence, a little more investigating into the payment part of it. I would say the judge would need that to make a thoughtful decision. And I think another part of it too is, how long was this relationship going on? Was it going on again? Do we believe it was going on prior to Mr. Wade being selected as the lead prosecutor? Now, there's been a lot of pushback from some saying, well, Mr. Wade has never tried.
I have a hard time listening to anything this guy has to say is legitimate after he actively asked, maybe she paid all the money back in cash. That is such a nonsensical thing to say. Nobody with any level head would even float that idea. Nobody. And the idea that was even possible, that still proves nothing, because there's nothing to prove that she did it. She has no documentation to prove it. So it's a moot point. It doesn't matter. It's ridiculous, dude. Fuck this guy.
Reporters are Doug Reardon and Rebecca Schramm out there following this minute by minute. Our team here in the newsroom also keeping an eye on the people providing testimony, the characters that we've seen in this courtroom, and the timeline and how that's all tying into today, the evidence hearing and ultimately the decision. I do believe we have some movement in the courtroom. So I do see attorneys returning. I think Terrence Bradley might actually have arrived. So we should be seeing
Let's get this party started, baby.
Really any moment now. It was quite an empty site for the past hour, but we're seeing some bodies, some movement, and hopefully Judge Scott McAfee returning to resume court and continuing into day 2 of this disqualification hearing. Adam, before I let you go, any final thoughts?
Well, hopefully we get more answers today and more concrete evidence. That's what we need. I think the judge needs that. Because like I said, I go back to the money, and that's what, in my opinion, this seems to be all about. Because if we're talking about, misuse of funds and unethical behavior from the DA's office, that it's all about the money trail.
Yep.
And so hopefully whatever witnesses are brought today, whatever evidence is presented today, will give us a little bit better look into that and maybe some more answers. And you're right, you can see they're gathering in the courtroom right now. There's some discussions going on. I think that the judge will probably, looks like the judge is probably going to hit the gavel here in a moment and bring the court back into order.
Let's
Maureen.
go.
Awesome. Adam, thank you so much. We will be taking you out live now into this courtroom here as we continue to bring you live coverage both on air, online, right.
Fani Willis or Gorlock the Destroyer, says Darth Gavel. God, just why are you guys doing this to me? Why are you guys doing this to me? Liberty Prime 199 says, I'm not on trial. You're on trial. That was a quote from her. Bold strategy, Cotton. Absolutely. Dark Obsidian, thank you for the member message. Appreciate that. So it looks like the party's getting started finally after about almost a 2-hour wait. Looks like we're getting started. So we shall see. We shall see if this actually does get rolling. All right. Yeah, I'd yeesh. Nick says, I'd rather be gay. I mean, isn't Gorlock's a man, right? Is Gorlock I don't even know. Like Gorlock is a biological man. Am I right about that? Or is it like I can't even tell anymore? I can't even tell. He's a thing. I don't even know, man. I can't even tell. He's fucking. It's such a sad state we're in. Okay. Oh man, oh man. By the way, just for those that are tuning in before this whole thing gets started, the 199 bags are for sale for about another week and a half. All right, and then they're done. So make sure you go over to 221B and get your 199 backpack. It'll be the last time we have that particular bag for sale. So as we relaunched the campaign due to popular demand, and I appreciate you guys that have
And it does appear that
purchased.
Judge Scott McAfee is now
Here we go.
re-entering the courtroom. You should hear his remarks here in a moment as he brings court back to session, and we continue to bring you live coverage of day 2 into this disqualification hearing.
Is still not with us in person. However, there's a proposal to potentially move on to other witnesses. Why don't we start with the state? Ms. Cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, in order to be efficient with the court's time, we have a witness here and here to take out of order, and it sounds as though there's no objection from the defense, so we can do that at court convenience.
We don't have any problem taking him out of order, but it's our understanding that Governor Barnes is here to establish that he was the first choice of Ms. Willis, and she testified to that, so I don't disagree with her. I don't know why we can't call him to establish the fact it's already been established. We're not refuting that fact. Feature on that fact.
Ms. Cross, I think did she say it was her first choice? Did she not say who was her first choice?
I think I don't believe that the governor's name was mentioned. I think there are some facts and circumstances surrounding the search for someone to take over the lead of this investigation at that time. Now, prosecution is something that, given the allegations in the case, is certainly relevant.
All right. It doesn't sound like it would be all that long a witness.
I don't think
anyhow. All right. So in that case, we can transition over, and Ms. Cross, I'd like to call your witness.
Thank you. The state would call Governor Roy Barnes.
And Judge, just so I'm clear, so you had told us not to ask questions about qualifications, so we did not ask any of our witnesses about qualifications. So the state's now going to bring in evidence of that. We would just ask now be able to go into that.
Sounds to me, well, Ms. Cross.
If you want to ask Governor Barnes about his qualifications, that's something he'd have knowledge of. I don't know what his basis of knowledge for anyone else's qualifications might be, but I also don't think that opens the door to anything other than what my understanding of what the testimony is.
As I hear it, the issue of qualifications versus who was her first choice is going to be relevant to her intent, maybe, and perhaps that issue of the case in whole. I don't think that necessarily opens the door. We'll see how it goes.
I believe he's being brought up, Your Honor.
All right.
All right. Hey, this guy right here in the back, this guy with the long hair, man, he looks like the type of dude to be hanging out in Margaritaville, man. He's just wasting away at Margaritaville. That guy looked like he's just chill as fuck. Oh my God. For real, he does, doesn't he? There he is. Look at this guy. He looks like he's ready to party. All right, let's get this party started. Come on. I'm still hoping Fani Willis makes another appearance, man. This is like professional wrestling, man. You know, like I hope Fani Willis, you know, her like, I don't know, some what's that one song? WAP. Maybe like WAP, that music hits like wrestling and Fani Willis walks in here. You know, for another appearance. It just causes chaos.
Ms. Cross, assuming this may be a 10 to 15 minute witness, does the state have other witnesses on deck they'd like to go forward with as well?
Yes, we've called to gather everyone we could, so we can go forward with another witness, I believe, after this.
All right, appreciate it.
All right, let's go. Come on. We're waiting, and not patiently, by the way. Who are we waiting for? Who they're calling a former governor, right? Is that who they're calling in? Stephen A. Smith.
I do. Roy Eugene Barnes.
This is former governor.
Royeugene Barnes, Barnes.
Say, good morning, Mr. Barnes. Can you tell the court a little bit about your background as it relates to your service in public service?
I was first elected to the state senate in 1974 from Cobb County, and I served 16 years there. And then in 1990, I ran for governor and was defeated. And 2 years later, I went back to the House of Representatives. I was elected to the House of Representatives, served 6 years until I was elected governor in 1998, and I served in that position until January of 2003.
And after serving in the position of governor, can you tell the court a little bit about what you transitioned into after your public service?
I did exactly what I was doing before I was elected. I went back to practicing law in Marietta, Georgia, with my daughter, who's now a judge of the state court, and my son-in-law. And now we have I think 6 or 7 lawyers. Charlie Bailey back there was one of them at one time.
Okay. And Governor Barnes, would you consider yourself to be a trial lawyer?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't write contracts or we don't write wills. All we do is try cases.
And I want to direct your attention back to 2021, where you were approached by the district attorney of Fulton County, Fani Willis, about being a special prosecutor.
I was. I don't recall the exact date, but I know it was sometime in 2021. And she asked me to come down, and I met with her and Nathan Wade, and there were several other in the meeting. She asked me, said they were beginning this investigation, and she asked me if I'd be interested in being special prosecutor, to which I replied that I had mouths to feed at a law office, and that I would not do that. And also, I just had a bad, well, I won't say bad because it happens from time to time, but I just had the FBI to report a fella, militia trainer, to me that said they were concerned that he was making threats against me. And because I thought it was because of the flag, but I asked him and he said, no, it was because I was too close to the Jews, quote unquote. And I told DA Willis I'd lived with bodyguards for 4 years and I didn't like it. And I wasn't going to live with bodyguards for the rest of my life.
Ultimately, you turned down.
Yes. Yeah, I told her. I said, I'm not interested.
Nothing further from the state.
Smirch.
Morning, Governor Barnes. How are you?
Just fine. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You said it was sometime in 2021. Do you remember?
I think it
early?
was. I don't remember the dates. They all go. I could look it up on my calendar at the office, but I don't have that.
Well, I want to ask you about some statements that Ms. Willis made March 28th, 2021. She was talking about assembling a team for this case. Are you familiar with her work assembling a team for this case?
Well, I assume that's what she was talking to me about. But besides that, I don't know.
I know you had said you had a meeting with some folks and Mr. Wade was at that meeting.
Correct.
Okay. So he was with the district attorney interviewing you about taking this case.
Well, of course, I know Nathan very well, as you do.
Yes.
And I exchanged pleasantries with him, but the conversation was with Ms. Willis.
Okay, with Ms. Willis. Were you aware at the time that her team consisted of Brian Watkins, Megan Vargas, Sonia Allen, Shannon Trotty, Sal Chan, and John Floyd? She had reported that was her team on this case.
I know John Floyd was involved, and she probably told me the others, but listen, I barely remember what case I tried last year, much less every word that was said in the conversation.
I understand, fair enough. But she said she was looking to hire more lawyers and investigators to work on this case.
She told me, it was to me, she said, would you be interested in being special prosecutor in this case? And I gave the reply that I've already known. I mean, about hiring other lawyers or whatever, I don't know. All I can testify to is what she told me.
Did she tell you at all why she wanted to hire special counsel and not use someone who was an ADA, not have an actual employee?
No, she did not. I mean, we did not discuss that. And, but I would assume it was because in a case as big as this, that you'd have to have a physician help. I know John Floyd has been in some cases over the years out in Cobb County, for example, and others.
Would you agree that an employee of her office, someone who was paid a state salary or a county salary as an ADA, could handle a case like this?
I couldn't tell you that unless I knew the person.
I can't wait to see the Palpatine memes out of this one. You guys are killing me in the chat.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys are killing me.
Hello, Mr. Sadow.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I hope you're well.
I'm doing fine, just getting older, but that beats all.
That's true. That applies to all of us, I believe. I think you indicated that if you had your calendar, you'd be able to pinpoint a date for us.
I would.
Is there a way for you, for example, at a break before you actually leave to contact your folks to see if you can get a date?
I guess I could. I don't know how far back we archived those, but I assume I could.
Would you be willing to give that a shot for us?
I mean, I'll do whatever the court instructs.
So if I ask the court and the court says, go ahead and you could do it, that's all right?
I'll do whatever the court instructs.
I hear you.
And you should too.
I try to live by those words. I'm not always successful, but I try. If I pinpoint a date, for example, I think the record is clear that Mr. Wade was hired for the position on November 1 of 2021. Does that help you at all?
No, it does not.
Okay. Then let's go to the meeting. It sounds like it was just one meeting.
Yes.
And could you tell us where that meeting took place, if you
It was
remember?
in the conference room adjacent to the district attorney's office.
So was it in this, or the adjoining building?
It was in the Lewis Slate building.
And District Attorney Willis was there, obviously, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And Mr. Wade was there?
The best I recall, now I could be mistaken about that, it's like anything that far away, but that's my recollection.
Do you have a recollection of anyone else being present?
Yeah, there were some other folks, but I don't remember.
Do you remember, were you introduced to Mr. Wade by anything other than you already knew him? Was he given a title or anything? So at least as you're there, if I heard you correctly, Miss Willis did all the talking, Mr. Wade did not.
I mean, we exchanged pleasantries, but as far as the basis of the conversation, the reason I was there, Ms. Willis did the talk.
And would you be able to give us an estimate how long this meeting lasted? Just rough.
Probably an hour.
And during the meeting, you made it clear, but it was the thanks for the offer, but no thank you.
Oh, yes, I did.
Who is now on the witness stand, taking questions in the Fani Willis disqualification hearing at the Fulton County Courthouse. The former governor is there because apparently he was asked by Fani Willis, the DA, to be the lead
Why is this
prosecutor.
cutting
He
in?
declined. That's a job that eventually went to Nathan Wade and leads us to where we are today. So we're going to continue streaming this coverage of this hearing live in its entirety on ANF Plus. You can find ANF Plus streaming through Roku TV, Apple TV Plus, and YouTube, or anywhere else you stream.
I guess y'all can,
Again,
I
this
guess we'll go
hearing is
fuck
airing live
ourselves.
in its entirety
I'll
right
find another
now
feed.
on our various streaming platforms, and we'll have a complete wrap-up of the hearing coming up.
All right. Fucking assholes. Here we go. I got a feed. Well, maybe. I think my computer's going to crash on me. I'll be right back. Give me just a minute. My whole fucking computer's about to crash. I'm back. Give me a minute. Technology always fails.
Oh, I had plenty of experience.
There we go.
She's a very qualified young, well, everybody's young to me, but she's a very qualified young woman.
After that one occasion, did you have any other contact with her in reference to the position itself or who she might be considering?
I had some conversations with her or Jeff DeSantis or some of those, but not really an in-depth, about who she should hire or anything like that.
Did the name Nathan Wade come up in those conversations with her? No, right?
Yeah. Nathan was there, I thought.
I'm working on getting a better feed.
I thought Nathan was there when
for the
I
conference.
think Nathan was. I'm not positive Nathan was there when I met with him.
Right, and my question was probably poorly worded, but what I was asking is after the conference and whatever consulting you might have done.
Yes.
Did Ms. Willis or Mr. DeSantis bring up the name Nathan Wade as a special prosecutor?
I don't think so. I don't recall one. I mean, Nathan is a good organizer. Nathan can organize stuff. I've watched him over the years. So I wasn't surprised that he was acting as a special.
It's the loudest I can get it.
Mr. DeSantis, for the record, who was that? Jeff DeSantis?
Jeff DeSantis.
Do you know who he is?
Oh, yes.
Could you tell us who he is for the record?
Jeff works in the DA's office. I knew him when he worked for Thurber Baker.
You know what his role in the DA's office is?
I have no earthly idea.
Is he in media? Does that sound familiar?
He has done media in the past. Jeff has generally been, I like Jeff, and I'm very close to him, but he's generally been on the other side of my campaign.
All right, so we're talking the best of your recollection, conference, we don't have the date, I'm asking if you could possibly get it, but the conference you have, Mr. Wade could have been there.
Yes, I'm almost sure he was there.
And Ms. Willis, obviously, and Mr. DeSantis was there.
I think Mr. DeSantis was too.
And as far as whether there was anyone else there, you don't have a present recollection?
No.
Okay,
Next time I'll take a picture so I'll have an exact.
Next time, hopefully.
All right, I'm trying to go the other feed looks like it's working now. So.
Mr. Rice?
There.
Mr. Gillen?
I've been waiting for this for years.
I couldn't give up the chance getting up here, Governor. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Craig.
We've done some work in the past together, haven't we?
I consider you to be one of my best friends and a crackerjack lawyer.
Well, I will say to you on the record that I can understand why they came to see you because you're the finest lawyer that I've ever worked with.
Thank you. I need to put you in the next day.
Yeah, there we go. We'll get that. But one or two more questions.
Okay.
You and I working together when it's appropriate. We've had no qualms about filing motions to disqualify the DA, have we?
No.
Matter of fact, you and I successfully disqualified the DA out in Cobb County in the Brown case, didn't we?
We did.
So whatever needs to be done should be done.
Represent your client.
You got that. Thank you so much.
Mr. Coturo, are you still with us by Zoom?
What?
I am, Your Honor. All right. Any questions?
Oh my God.
No, sir. All right. And is it Mr. Cromwell from Ms. Latham?
No questions.
All right. Any redirect, Mr. Abadi? Can this witness be excused?
Your Honor, is there a way that we could
What the hell was that?
prove you for that date if you can get it?
The question is, you want the exact date that the meeting occurred?
Yes, if you can get that.
And I'm wondering if we can, if it's really material, the exact date rather than just its proximity to the November 1st hiring. Is that fair? If he knows whether it was far earlier in the year versus maybe closer, would that obviate the need for the exact date?
If you can't get the exact date, of course, we'll take the best we can get.
Okay, let's start there.
All right. Let me
think, well, you may take care of it for us just if we hold in place here.
I'm not sure of this.
Well, let me try this first, Governor Barnes, before you do a deep dive in the email there. Do you recall what time of year it was when this meeting occurred?
What's up, Gremlin?
Okay.
I mean, you know how this is. The cases and the days moved together. I had a fellow a few years ago that said I represented him in 1978, and I told him I'd take his word for it.
Now, you wouldn't, I gotta ask, you wouldn't do that if it was a question of him saying he just paid you.
No, I would not. I will tell you, I believe lawyers should be well paid, Mr. Senator.
Dude, what the fuck is going on?
I'll have to look. It didn't come up right.
Okay. All right. We'll ask this witness to step down subject to recall. And that might be something the state can present with stipulation as well. All right. Thank you, sir. Do we have an update on Mr. Bradley?
Lawyer. Lawyer should be here. He's probably outside.
The last estimation I heard was about 11:30.
Okay. If that's still the case, then Ms. Cross, did you have another witness available?
But having brought over, it's Mr. John Floyd, not the special prosecutor John Floyd. John Floyd, District Attorney Willis' father.
Okay. And is he heading this way?
Yes.
All right.
This is so stupid. This is so stupid. All of this is so stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever fucking seen. Janet Jackson, that you? All right, while we're waiting for the next clown to come in, so let's see. We got a great crowd on Rumble and on YouTube. Dim Jones says, I need patches 199. Hold the line, Snake Pit, Geeks Gamers, and so on. Noted. I've already told Suresh about that. Matt Grizzly says, 2 Live Crew, Hoochie Mama, perfect Fani song and current meme on X. Salty Saurus Rex for 20 says, hey, Jeremy, don't you find it odd that Biden administration is celebrating Black History Month, but not Lunar New Year's, considering he is buddy with China? Weird how this equity works. Can't wait for Trump 2024, baby. Hell yes. Same here. Magnum North says, I always have cash at the strip club. Magnum North says, where's the Soros funded judge map? We need that. Man, these people are insane. Let's hear what's going on. Still waiting. Oh, man. Magnor says, this defense lawyer sounds like a bundle of sticks, or as Melody Mack would say, you know what? You know what? Thank you, Gremlin, for becoming a member. All right, let's see here. Occam's Razor says, this beer is delicious while I'm watching Fani clusterfuck implode. MAGA 2024, baby. Damn right.
Governor, we're just holding in place for taking witnesses out of order. Do you have any updates on Mr. Bradley?
Yes, so he.
What is happening?
May last few more hours. However, he's going to make himself available for Zoom if that's possible.
All right. Ms. Merchant.
I was outside looking for them.
Sure. We found it.
I'm sorry.
So he is asked whether the defendants would accept his testimony by Zoom.
As long as I can show him documents if he needs his memory refreshed, then that's fine.
It is not with us.
It is not.
With due respect.
Yeah, the state would have an objection to this witness not appearing in person.
Understood. All right. Mr. Ward, I think we're going to need continual updates from you. And also some kind of expectation of what this afternoon is going to look like. I was never informed of a medical appointment, and I think the notice in this hearing
Good
indicated
God,
that it lasts at
man.
least 2 days.
This is so embarrassing.
Right now, I think he's in violation of his subpoena.
Your Honor, I believe that the council's given notice of his doctor's appointment and this one yesterday. He took a stand yesterday and was hoping that he would finish his testimony yesterday. I stayed here all day. This appointment started at 9, and it's out of his control with regards to, again, the issues involved with it, as well as
I'm just trying to get more. I mean, we initially been told maybe it was going to be 9:30 and 10. Do we have any better idea to get a realistic expectation of when we think we can have him here?
Good Lord.
If it's Your Honor's wish, come on in and we have to go back
Is he, without getting too much into the particulars, has he already been seen by the doctor and he's waiting for results, or is he still waiting to be seen by a doctor? I'm just,
both. He's been consulting with the doctor.
And after he gets those results, he was supposed to have another meeting with them today as well. But potentially that meeting could occur later.
After they're able to figure out purpose of the actual.
Okay. If you can get any kind of an update on how much time they think that those results are going to take. If it's more than an hour or two, I think we would want to start bringing him here, and he can have that follow-up consultation later. All right. Thank you, sir.
Did Your Honor want to take up the 1.6 motion?
At this point, I think we've got something else that can occupy our time, and I think we need to move forward with that. All right. Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't learn about the equipment.
Right. Okay. Understood. Ms. Cross.
Mr.
Abate will,
Mr. John Floyd.
Mr. Floyd, if you could have a seat, sir.
What is happening right now?
Thank you. I do. My name is John Clifford Floyd III.
Say, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can you tell the court, are you currently retired?
Yes, I am.
And prior to being retired, can you tell the court a little bit about, did you work in the legal career? Were you a
I
lawyer?
was an attorney. I practiced law. I've probably tried 1,000 cases. About 50% of my practice was criminal law. 25% of it was family law. And the rest was whatever walked through the front door could pay for it.
Okay. And
Can we wait 1 second? Come back.
I do. My calendar shows it was October 26, 2021.
All right. And would defense counsel accept it as a stipulation, or is there any follow-up questioning needed on that? Mr. Barnes is still considered under oath on this point. All right. I'll just look for a show of hands or for someone to speak now on Zoom, and hearing none.
What is the
Thank you, sir.
governor
You're
still doing
excused.
there?
And sir, can you tell the court, are you from Atlanta?
No, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. I spent most of my legal career, I would say, in Washington, D.C. was kind of the circle, but I've tried cases all over the country, and I tried the longest. I was the first lawyer to try an international criminal court. I was with the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. I was in trial there for 4.5 years in Arusha, Tanzania, and Hague in the Netherlands.
Okay. When you weren't there, it sounds like your kind of center of gravity was Washington, D.C.
Correct, but I've tried cases in West Virginia, Maryland, Florida, California.
All over.
Yes.
And do you, sir, can you tell the court, do you have any children?
I have one daughter, Fani Willis.
Okay. And
wait, what?
I want to direct your attention
Wait, what?
2019, okay?
Yes.
Back in 2019, can you tell the court, did you move here to Atlanta?
What?
I was living in Johannesburg, South Africa.
What a
and unfortunately, for some reasons, I could not get an extended visa. When I retired from the practice of law in 2018, I moved to South Africa, and I had to leave South Africa, and I did then come to Atlanta.
Okay, and do you, sir, remember about the time period in 2019 when you moved in with your daughter here in Atlanta?
It would have been the spring or summer of 2019.
And after you moved here, did you get a driver's license to kind of confirm your residency in Atlanta?
Well, my driver's license for the District of Columbia.
I didn't see that when you guys were telling me that was her dad. I had no idea. But the fact that he showed up 2 hours late, that's pretty on point.
In the state of Georgia.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Good.
You will just take a look at what's been marked as stated.
Okay, Your Honor, would you, if you don't mind, my eyes are very bad, which is one of the reasons I retired, and so I need a magnifying glass. So I'll be
Whatever you
constantly. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yes, I see it was issued on 9/28/2019.
Okay, so before we get there, do you recognize State's Exhibit 2?
Yes, just my driver's license.
And is State's Exhibit 2 a fair and accurate copy of your physical driver's license?
Absolutely.
This time, Your Honor, the state would tender what's been marked as State's Exhibit 2 into evidence.
Seeing no other objections, it's submitted. State's Exhibit 2 is submitted for the record.
Now, and for the record, Your Honor, the state is going to supplement State's Exhibit 2 with a redacted copy of the license. The current copy is not redacted with the address and things of that nature.
All right, and do we need to mark that differently in any way?
I will mark it as State's Exhibit 2A.
Perfect.
Now, you talked about when your driver's license was issued. Can you tell the court when was that driver's license here, your Georgia driver's license issued?
It was on 9/28/2019.
Okay, so September 28, 2019. Now, when you moved into District Attorney Willis's home, who lived there?
Well, my daughter lived there. I lived there, and from time to time, my grandchildren would come.
Okay, and did your grandchildren, were they at school coming and going?
Exactly. I think they were in school in various jurisdictions.
And during the time, how long did you live at or with Miss Willis and at her home here in Fulton County?
She was forced to move after she was elected. I don't know if you want me to go through the whole thing, but that, Your Honor, if Your Honor will indulge me. After she was sworn in on January 1 of 2021. And on or about the 3rd of February, at probably 5:30 a.m. in the morning, there were people outside her house cursing and yelling and calling her the B word and the N word.
Of course. There we go.
Okay,
there we go.
Pause, sir. Mr. Abani. Here's the objection to you.
I would say it's effect on the listener. He was present while all of these things were occurring. But I can.
No, that's. And he's saying he was personally present to hear these things?
Yes.
Okay, overruled.
Okay, and fortunately, the neighbors called the police and disbanded the group, and it was just, I hadn't seen anything exactly like it before.
Okay, and after that happened, can you tell the court that Miss Willis would have to move from her home?
Yes, she was forced to leave.
Okay. And can you tell the court after she was forced to leave, shortly after she was sworn in, Did you remain at her home in Fulton County?
Yes, I stayed there really until 2022, I guess.
And from what you described, did you fear for her safety?
Absolutely. I mean, not only did I do that, I mean, the South Fulton police, they brought somebody, a man with a dog, because there have been so many death threats. And they said they were going to blow up the house. They were going to kill her. They were going to kill me. They were going to kill my grandchildren. I mean, on and on and on. It just, it became, and I was concerned for her safety.
And after those concerns came to your attention, and after what you heard and saw that day, you remained at the house?
Yes.
And can you tell the court, with what you just described, why did you remain living?
Yesterday, the judge was not allowing anything that wasn't relevant. Now, why is all of this being discussed? How is this relevant?
Based on a lot of the questions that were asked yesterday of Ms. Willis as to about the security threat and the fact that it was implied that those threats were not necessarily real, in the sense that Mr. Floyd remained in the home. There were many questions about the fact that he remained and her children could still come and go to the house. I think it's relevant based to the testimony that was elicited from defense counsels yesterday.
Well, these South Fulton police, first they put a car in front of the house that was there permanently, a police car. That was thing one. Thing two, they brought a person with a dog, sometimes more than once a day, twice a day, and they would circle the house to look for bombs. I knew that was a house that my daughter had worked for. It was a brand new house. She's the only one who would ever live there. It's a 4-bedroom, brand new house. And somebody needed to protect the house. And I stayed there to basically take care of the house, to take care of the yard, to take care of that. Also, somebody sprayed, again, the B word and the N word on the house. And I don't think my daughter even knew that. I cleaned it off and called the police, and South Fulton police. They have, I'm sure, all the records of all the things that happened. And all of the neighbors, I notified all the neighbors to look out and to watch out. And it was so crazy. I mean, it was just so crazy. We'd have people would show up and park car. There was a guy parked for probably 8 hours out in front of the house. It was just, and we'd call the police and,
Now, at the time that you lived there with Ms. Willis, and I guess even when you remained, so during the time period of 2019 to the end of 2020, are you aware if Ms. Willis was dating someone?
Yeah, she did. She had a boyfriend when I first got there.
Okay. And did you meet her boyfriend?
Yeah, I met him often.
Okay. And did you know him by any specific nickname?
Yeah, Deuce.
Okay. And can you tell the court while you were living there, how often would you see him?
Sometimes every day, sometimes, every other day. He was a disc jockey or something, and he had all this paraphernalia that I'd have to move out. It was a thing with the keyboard. Things that played music and so forth. So
now, when you moved in 2019, and throughout the years in year 2020, 2021, had you ever met someone named Nathan Wade?
I did not meet Nathan Wade until 2023, about a year ago, when a reporter by the name of Issakoff interviewed me. I met him. That was the first time I had met him.
You said that was in 2023?
2023, right.
Deuce the drug dealer.
And I know you said you hadn't met him until 2023, but when you were living at Ms. Willis's house in Fulton County, did you ever meet Mr. Wade in the year 2019?
Absolutely not.
How about in the year 2020?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever see Mr. Wade at Ms. Willis's Fulton County house in the year 2021?
Never.
And is it your testimony that the only time or the first time that you met Mr. Wade was in 2023?
Let me say something. Mr. Wade said that he remembers seeing me, and I do remember some banter. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and there's kind of this thing that goes on between fraternities. And Mr. Wade is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, and I do remember there was some kind of banter when my daughter was sworn in to be district attorney between me and a couple of guys, and he said he remembers me. I don't remember him.
And prior to that experience that you're talking about, as well as, I guess, your official meeting in 2023, had you ever even heard his name?
No, never.
I don't think I have any further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Merchant.
Yes, thank you, Judge. How are you?
Fine. How are you, counsel?
Good, thank you. Just got a couple questions. On Monday, we heard you were in California. Do you have a place in California?
People always ask me about where do I live. I guess I live right here, sitting in this seat right now. But yes, the answer is I have a place in Los Angeles.
Okay, you do.
Wow,
All right,
that
so
funny?
do you share time or split time between Los Angeles and Georgia?
Actually, I'm working on a documentary film, and I'm supposed to be being filmed not for this trial, but I'm supposed to be being filmed right now. It was planned, and we had to stop it because they asked me to come here. But the answer is I'm working on a documentary, and I'll be in California until I finish the documentary if we don't have another actor strike and we don't have another writer strike.
So do you own property in California?
No, I don't. I live with a friend of mine.
You live with a friend of yours. Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you first move? Let me qualify with the dates. Did you spend any time in 2019 in California?
No, and the reason I didn't is that when I first came here, the answer is no, I did not. What happened was COVID. Once COVID hit, I was just paralyzed. I couldn't go any place. I couldn't go anything. I mean, I'm a theater buff. I used to go to theater at least once a week. But when COVID hit, I just couldn't. I couldn't go to the dentist, which I need to do. Or, it was just a thing. So I was just stuck. I was just stuck there.
I may be wrong, but I believe COVID hit in 2020. So I was asking about 2019. In 2019, did you spend any time in California?
Before COVID was even here in the United States, remember I lived in South Africa and I've traveled the world. I knew COVID was coming before. I knew COVID was around before. They may have announced it in 20, but in fact, I knew about it and I knew what was happening in 19.
Okay, so let's walk through 2019 then. You said you moved here in September. So
no, I didn't say that. I moved here probably prior to September. In September is when I got the driver's license. I probably moved in the springtime.
I'm sorry, you did. You said spring, summer. I see that in my notes. So spring, summer 2019 is when you moved here. So up until spring, summer 2019, where did you live?
I lived in Johannesburg. Well, I lived in Washington, D.C., 2018. I had planned to retire for the rest of my life in South Africa. I had worked for Nelson Mandela and the Free Mandela and getting that. And someone I'd gone to law school, he had located there after Mandela was freed from prison and became president. I was going to live there for the rest of my life, but unfortunately, because of political reasons, I could not stay in South Africa, and I was forced, in a sense, to come back to the United States.
Okay, so let's just focus in on the period from, let's just start with October 2019. Okay, we'll call that the relevant period. October 2019 until the end of 2019. Were you in Georgia every single day of that year?
Absolutely.
So now let's move to 2020, okay? And every single day, before I move on, every single day in 2019, you slept at your daughter's house, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So let's start in 2020, all right? So 2020, the entire year, did you travel anywhere?
No.
Okay. You didn't travel at all that year?
No.
So,
and I didn't go to the movies, which upset me also.
So that entire year, 2020, you remained here in Georgia?
Right.
In 2021, did you do any traveling?
No.
So when did you move back, or when did you start this documentary film in Los Angeles?
What I had been doing to occupy time is I was writing my own memoir. As I delved into my family background, I discovered something, and that's what got me to working on the documentary. So I want you to understand what was going on in my life. I pitched I have a movie script called Bad Blood. I have a movie script we're trying to sell. So
this guy
I tried to
plug his
sell that.
movie?
And I just happened to mention something that happened during the civil rights movement. SNCC, it's called the SNCC 5. The legendary Peter Fitzsimmons was interested. And so with Peter Fitzsimmons and Leah Smith, we're now doing the documentary. So
I don't want to interrupt you, but what I was asking was when you moved to Los Angeles, not
so
what
bad.
Well, you keep saying moved. I haven't moved to Los Angeles. I spent more time in California, in Oakland, if you really want to just be, because Peter is basically San Francisco based. So we're working on the documentary.
Okay.
I was in Los Angeles because I was going to the Pan-African Film Festival. And that's why we were there. And the way Hollywood works is, you know, when you make connections, and film festivals are a place to try to sell ideas and meet people and organize things.
You still own property in Washington, D.C., correct?
No, I don't.
You don't own property at 1467 Roxana Road Northwest?
That's where I used to live.
That's where you used to live. Did
Right.
you own that property?
Yes.
Okay. And you owned that property when you moved here in 2019?
Yes.
And you owned it in 2020, correct?
Well, now you talk about a very complicated issue. I left the property. There was a dispute between me, and I had gotten a reverse mortgage company. And there was a dispute between me and that. And I just, I walked away from it.
Okay. You walked away from it with almost $300,000?
Yeah, what is the relevance of that?
Where he lived and registered to vote. That's what they brought in. So that's,
Why is the money he got from the sale relevant at all?
it's the only proof I have of that he owned that address. So I can move on now. Okay. When did you sell that property?
I didn't. The reverse mortgage company took it.
Oh, okay. So in 2019, when you got your driver's license here,
Yes.
the next day you registered to vote, correct?
I think it may have been the same day, but maybe it was the next day. I don't remember.
But you didn't own property here in Georgia that day?
No, I was living with my daughter.
You said that you met Mr. Wade, that you remember you met in 2023, right? That was the first time you
Correct.
remember? Okay. And I wasn't really clear. You said something about meeting him. Was it with Mr. Isikoff, or did Mr. Isikoff tell you?
No, I was being interviewed by Mr. Isikoff.
Okay.
And he walked in, and I met him. That was the first time. He walked into the office, and
Where were you being interviewed?
at the district attorney's office.
And Mr. Wade walked into that interview?
Yes.
And so Ms. Willis had not told you about Mr. Wade prior to that.
Absolutely not.
So she didn't tell you anything about their relationship before you met him that day.
No.
But Mr. Wade remembers meeting you in 2020.
He said that at my daughter's swearing in. I do remember that we having some banner about fraternities, but other than that,
Oh, at your daughter's swearing in. Okay.
right.
That's all I have. Just one moment. Nothing else. Thank you.
This is such a shit show.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you, counsel?
I'm fine. I'll try to ask you some specific questions if we could, okay?
And I'll give specific answers if I can.
Perfect.
Okay.
The driver's license address, I'm not going to publish. That is State's Exhibit number 2. But is the address on that driver's license the home that you're referring to as your daughter's in South Fulton?
Absolutely.
Okay. It was unclear to me, maybe no one else, but it's unclear to me, when did you stop living at what I would call your daughter's home in South Fulton?
Things got so bad and threats got so many, even against me, that the house became basically uninhabitable. I got tired of sleeping in one room one day and no one that. I would say December of 2022, something like that.
December of 2022.
Right. That's about right. Yeah.
Now, let me change and go back for another date. You had indicated, and I didn't hear it. When was your daughter, Miss Willis, when was she sworn in as district attorney?
On January 1, 2021.
Okay. And did you indicate that there was an incident, and I know you've described it, was that incident on February the 3rd, 2021?
That's my best recollection.
Okay. So my question then is, after February 3rd of 2021, how much longer did Miss Willis stay at the house before she moved somewhere else?
Very short period of time, and I cannot be precise, but I would bet all the money I ever made, it wasn't more than a month and a half, if that long.
Okay, so we're talking about, best of your recollection, end of February into the beginning of March, give or take, of 2021, when Miss Willis would have moved to a different location.
Exactly.
Okay. And did Miss Willis return to the house, that is, the house that you were in, at any point in time that you can remember?
From time to time, she and her security might show up for her to pick something up or take something or something, but she always would come with her security.
Okay, my question was poorly worded, I apologize. Did she come back permanently to her house?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay,
absolutely not.
So as far as you're aware, that once Miss Willis left the house, her house, South Fulton House, so the record's clear, in either late February or into March of 2021, best of your recollection, she's not returned to that home to live.
No, it became uninhabitable. It just,
that's okay.
I would have to walk around that house looking out of every window. I made a habit of having to walk around the whole house. I got lights so that if somebody would come at night in the back, so that those kinds of reflecting lights, I had those put up.
I don't mean to again cut you off.
Okay.
All I was interested in is whether she had ever returned.
No, the answer is no.
Okay. Now, when Miss Willis, when your daughter left the home, time period, end of February, beginning of March, give or take 2021, do you know where she moved to?
No, and I didn't want to know. I intentionally did not want to know, because I was not, if somebody stuck a gun to my head and I could tell them, I wasn't going to tell them anyway.
Oh my
made
God,
up something,
get
but
the
I
fuck
didn't want
out
to
of
know.
here.
So would it be fair to say that if you didn't want to know, you never visited her at the place that she moved to?
Oh, I never did. Never did.
Okay. Do you know how long she stayed at the first place that she went to after she left her house before she moved to a second place?
What I know, and this is hearsay, counsel, is that my daughter has had to move something like 4 times.
But do you know any potential?
No, I don't know any place. I was taken one time for Christmas Day. I've only seen my daughter, and this is very hard for me to say, but during the period my daughter left, I've only seen my daughter 13 times, because I can't, and we've never seen each other more than maybe 3 hours because of, the nightmare threats against her and me.
And I understand that. And from the perspective of being a father myself, I understand what that means. So I'm going to move away from that. I was just trying to get an idea of date-wise, okay? So let me try to get one more date. In 2023, when you were being interviewed by one of the gentlemen that wrote the book at the DA's office, and Mr. Wade came in, can you give us, other than 2023, what the date would be?
I'm sorry, I can't counsel.
How about spring, summer, any idea?
I would guess spring or summer, but I can't. Okay. I don't. I'm sorry.
And you've already indicated, at least to your recollection, that was the first time that you'd met Mr. Wade.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you about that. I want to go to Miss Willis's boyfriend that you referenced. Okay.
Deuce.
You met Miss Willis's boyfriend, as you've characterized it, when you came here in 2019.
Deuce.
Correct.
And you met him on one occasion, several occasions?
Oh, no, I
Deuce
saw him
was a
often.
bad dude.
Oh, so you mean there was no secret that she was dating this man?
Not from me.
Not from you.
And not, he was a disc jockey of some kind. I think he had a government job during the day. I don't know what it was, but apparently he would do weddings and so forth and so on. He was a disc jockey, play music. So he had all his stuff was always in the way, and I was always having to try to push it aside. And anyway.
But Miss Willis, your daughter didn't keep him from you, correct?
No.
I mean, there was no doubt
we lived in, my daughter and I lived in the same house. I mean, he came and went,
Right. Now, when did you learn that your daughter had a romantic personal relationship with Mr. Wade?
Well, about 7 weeks ago when as a matter of fact, I just found out when other folks found out. Okay.
That is, your daughter, as I understand it, never told you one time in the year of 2022 that she was dating Mr. Wade, correct?
That's correct.
And until recently, you didn't know from anyone, including your daughter, that she dated Mr. Wade, correct?
That's correct.
That is, whatever the relationship is between father and daughter, she kept that.
There clearly
a secret
wasn't a
from you,
relationship,
correct?
as he's established.
Correct. That's all I need to know.
Mr. Stockton.
No.
So he basically said that he couldn't see his daughter because of racism and COVID.
Your daughter moved or left the house that she owned. Did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, no. See, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay? I was trained, and most black folks, they hide cash or they keep cash. And I trained, you always keep some cash, because I've been places, and just because of the color of my skin, for example, I took a fellowship at Harvard when my daughter was just, if I might, Your Honor, when I was just, she was just, maybe 3 years old. And I remember going to a restaurant in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I had a American Express credit card and maybe a Visa or whatever. And I had a lot of what they call traveler's checks. I don't even know if they still have traveler's checks, but traveler's checks. And there was a sign said, with the credit card. For whatever reasons, the man would not take my American Express credit card. So I pulled out my Visa card, and he wouldn't take my Visa card. So then I pulled out my traveler's checks. He said, we don't take checks. Now, these were traveler's checks. This was money. I had a $10 bill. I'll never forget this as long as I live. And he said, the bill for my wife at the time, Fani's mother, Fani, and myself was like $9.95, and I had a $10 bill. That was all that. I always remember that. But even before that, I've always kept cash, and I've told my daughter, you keep 6 months worth of cash always. For example, I had 3 safes in my house. I put some of my clients' stuff there too, things I didn't want other lawyers to be, because you're always in a firm, and I knew that there were special conditions. So some of my clients' things I would bring home, put them in the.
I don't have 6 months worth of cash to keep. 6 months worth of cash?
Box, and told her always keep some cash.
So is that a yes?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's all I got, Judge.
Mr. Durham.
No questions.
Mr. McDougald.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Rice.
No question, Your Honor.
Mr. Gillen.
It's still morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Counsel. How are you?
Just fine. Just a few questions following up. When you were talking about when you learned about Mr. Wade and your daughter, correct?
Correct.
Now, did your daughter tell you in around October of 2022 that she had gone on a Caribbean cruise with Mr. Wade to the Bahamas?
The answer is I knew that my daughter had gone, but I did not know who she went with or what the circumstances were. So I knew that she had gone out of town, but I didn't know with whom.
I see. And did she tell you in November of 2022 that she had gone to Aruba and stayed at a Hyatt Regency resort there in Aruba for 3 days with Mr. Wade? Did she tell you that?
The answer was, again, I knew she went out of town. I didn't even know where she went. I knew she was going out of town. She told me she was going out of town. I think she might have said she was going out of the country or something. She'd be gone. But other than that, that was all.
Okay. And did she tell you in March of 2023 that she was going to Belize for several days with Mr. Wade?
The same answer, that I knew she would tell me she was going out of town, and she may or may not have told me where she was going, but she'd be gone for a couple of days.
Okay. Now in 2023, you were in many days you would be out in California, correct?
Some days I'd be in California, correct.
Okay. Well, did she tell you in May of 2023 that she was traveling to Napa Valley with Mr. Wade, so maybe y'all could see each other when she visited California with Mr. Wade?
The answer is no.
And so the first time that you ever met Mr. Wade or learned about Mr. Wade, to your recollection, was in 2023?
That's correct.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Kachuroff on Zoom.
Yes, Ron, just a couple quick questions. Good morning, sir. I know I can't see you.
I can't see you either, but
we can take a moment.
Good morning, Counsel.
We take a moment. Let's just pause, see if we can change the screens to show Mr. Kachuroff.
What's up, next news?
Sorry.
Your Honor, I'm on a phone, so it's kind of difficult.
Can you turn your screen on though?
Oh,
trying to.
So let's just recap that Fani Willis' dad knew about COVID before it happened. So he 100% knew about COVID. Hasn't seen his daughter but 13 times, but apparently they've had such a close relationship. This is amazing.
Does that work?
Just to hold.
And he covered up the spray paint of the B word and the N word so she wouldn't see it. Just like LeBron James' team did a few years ago.
Transaction, you said it was a black thing.
It's a black
How
thing.
did you know that the cash was going to be an issue in this testimony?
Because I was asked for it and I was prepped by the lawyers and they asked me about it. What else?
And did you speak with Mr. Wade about your testimony?
No.
Did you speak with your daughter about your testimony?
She may have been present when the lawyers were. I really don't remember.
If Mr. Wade and your daughter were dating, you wouldn't have known that unless your daughter told you.
What do you? Maybe I'm not understanding your question, Counsel. So maybe you want to restate. What is it that you're asking me?
Yeah, if it wasn't clear, I can re-ask the question. I'll rephrase it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Mr. Wade. If Mr. Wade and your daughter were dating, you wouldn't have known that unless your daughter told you.
I did not know that they were dating. And when were you talking about the cash? I didn't know that. I don't know what you're asking me. What I told my child from the time she was a child is always have some money. Always have some money. If you go on a date so that people don't try to stick you and you want to leave whoever, always keep some cash, okay?
Mr. Floyd, you answered the question that the attorneys prepped you for that. So that's all I wanted to know.
Anything else, Mr. Kachuroff?
That's it, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Cromwell.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Abadi?
Your Honor. Mr. Floyd, now it wasn't common for your daughter to confide in you about her romantic life at all.
No, And I haven't confided in her about mine before when I had one, okay?
And you wouldn't have known about her boyfriend, the disc jockey.
Hey, Debs.
An objection?
I think that might have just been still off mute.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
Now, you wouldn't have known about her boyfriend, the disc jockey, had you not been living with her, correct?
That's correct.
I'll allow overruled.
I have nothing further.
Did he answer the question?
He did. He said that's correct.
All right. By show of hands, any redirect on those points only. Ms. Merchant.
I just want to know when you were prepped by the lawyers, when this prep session was.
I just got off the plane on, what was it, Tuesday night? I think I was probably drooling at the mouth. I was so tired. So it must have been, I got in Wednesday. It must have been Wednesday.
Okay. And did you talk about any of the testimony from yesterday or watch any news reports or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. You can't cut the TV on without seeing this. The first thing, and I listen to conservative radio a lot, and, you know, last night for 5 hours, all they talked about was this case.
So you were aware of what the testimony your daughter gave yesterday was?
Yeah, unless you don't cut the radio on, unless you don't cut the television on, unless you don't read the AJC or any other, the New York Times or whatever, which I do every day, of course.
So is it fair to say nobody instructed you that you were under the rule of sequestration?
Right, and I'm not under subpoena either.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Floyd.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. It's a pleasure to appear in front of Your Honor.
Take care.
Thank you.
Oh,
all right. Ms. Cross, let me check in. Was the state planning to call additional witnesses?
Not at this time, Your Honor. We're again trying to accommodate if there's a
Sure.
lapse in schedule to be able to this afternoon. But right now, that was last witness.
Okay. So even if Mr. Bradley testifies to some extent, it's still the potential that the state has no further witnesses?
I anticipate at least one more will be available this afternoon, but that would be it.
Okay. So there are potentially more state's witnesses. All right.
Judge, before we move on, I moved to strike the last witness's testimony.
All right. So I think the rule is invoked and the instruction was for the parties to tell all witnesses subpoenaed are expected to appear about the rule. I don't think the remedy is necessarily striking. I think it can go also to this credibility as well. So to that extent, unless Ms. Cross, you want something else to be heard on that, point is made. All right. Do we have an update for Mr. Bradley?
Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, he should be here at 12:20, 12:25.
Okay. Then what I think we should do is have these preliminary conversations about privilege, see if we can make any headway, and then take our afternoon break. So to that end, counselors, I don't know if you just want to argue in place there or go to the table, whatever makes you comfortable. But Mr. Chopra, I think maybe it was relayed to you since you weren't in the court earlier this morning. We'd had some initial conversations about the distinction between the privilege and Rule 1.6, and it sounded like you wanted to be heard on that.
Your Honor, it was brought to my attention, and I apologize because I don't have things.
What do you need?
Well, a copy of the case in front of me would be helpful, but it's not necessary. It would just take me a second to keep looking at my phone and responding to the court.
Whatever you need to do.
Your Honor, I believe the case for in anticipation of piercing the rule of 1.6 is the Owens Corning fiberglass versus American Satanic. Is that correct?
Sorry, Your Honor. It's difficult hearing counsel. Could you?
There's a microphone there at the jury box. You can try to
Hear what he's saying. Thank you.
either try to lift that microphone up and speak in the jury box or make your way over to the podium or table. Sorry.
Is that any better?
All right. And no, that was authority provided by Mr. Sadow over our morning recess. And I think that was indicated to go more towards a potential crime fraud argument. I don't think we've really gotten there yet.
It's not crime fraud per se. It's the same notion. It's fraud on the court, different proposition.
Okay.
But yes, and to attorney-client privilege waiver,
Right.
1.6 confidential and secret.
The case that I had cited to this morning, showing the distinction between the two, was tenant healthcare. So that's where we were on the threshold issue. Did you have something that you wanted?
I don't think it's over. I think they're probably going to take a break, and they're waiting for another person to take the stand, but that person is not supposed to be there for another 20 or 30 minutes. Now, whether they take the break before that person gets there or after, I guess it's up to the judge.
Okay, so you are co-counsel on this.
Well, this morning when you were asking where he was, I had to make sure everybody knew. That's what I was doing.
Okay.
Oh, this is, the judge is saying it's 10.
Right, and the citation for that is 273 Georgia 206.
Judge,
I'll give you time to review that. In the meantime, what other things that you want me to know? And perhaps at this point, we just take our break now, unless you also want to talk about the questionings that are provided by Ms. Merchant, seeing if there's anything we can achieve.
so that I can be clear, it is apparent that at this point, we're going to go into whether or not 1.6 provides privilege for Mr. Wade, even though he has specifically stated that he does not waive that privilege. Therefore, it would be incumbent upon the court to issue an order to demand that Mr. Bradley, over and above the privilege afforded in 1.6, is required to testify. Is that correct?
That's right. That's what we covered this morning.
And so I would ask the court, is the court then going to travel under the fraud exception?
We haven't quite gotten there. We haven't decided whether attorney-client privilege applies. I think there are some other things that we would have to do to, I think we got held up yesterday on 1.6. As I understood it, I was waiting to hear from you whether we are now beyond that. And then if we're in the land of attorney-client privilege and only attorney-client privilege, so Rule 505, then I think Mr. Sadal has some arguments on crime fraud. And I think there's also just the general arguments of, does it exist? Were certain statements in furtherance? Does Mr. Bradley have any knowledge independent of those?
Certainly.
Right.
And in order to keep the court abreast, yes, we are still traveling under, there should be a privilege afforded to Mr. Wade under 1.6. And we are aware of how they will try to convince the court that that should be overcome. So hopefully I can read this case in less than 5 minutes.
All right, that's fine. Anything, I guess, as he reads that, let's do this. Assuming we do get beyond 1.6, if you can work with me here, anything we want to add to that?
I'm afraid I would have to hear what the arguments were that got us past 1.6. Judge, I'm not here to insinuate to the court that we would do something else. I don't know.
But there was a line of questioning that Ms. Merchant decided to write out and share with the parties. Were there any initial thoughts, comments, reactions to that? Again, just trying to make sure we make the best use of Mr. Bradley's time once he arrives.
Your Honor, I just want to say that that might just reiterate that my client is not waiving attorney-client privilege. The questions that we reviewed this morning, Mr. Bradley is not able to testify about anything relating to Wade's marriage or dating history after December 2018. That's going to be the operative date. Nor does any of the questions does Mr. Bradley cite to any external knowledge or sources. Anything he will say would be derived entirely from privileged communications with our clients. So we just want to renew our objection.
Okay, so certainly the assertion of privilege is confirmed and for the record. And I think, again, this is where we got held up yesterday, is that I know you're asserting that certain answers to these questions would be covered by privilege. I think there's still some boxes we would need to check before we can confirm that. And we'd have to check those boxes with Mr. Bradley before we can get there. Okay, if there's nothing else, then let's break until 1 o'clock. All right, thank you all.
All right, so they're going to take a break. I'm going to catch up on Super Chats. I have Friday Night Ties later today, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go back live again or not. The Palpatine stuff was fantastic. So we got Hayden waiting for 20, says, like father, like daughter, apparently. Well, right now I live in this chair I'm sitting in. Oh, I have no idea where she lives. And I was expecting that to be, I was taken by car with a hood over my head to spend Christmas. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. And then he was like, I ain't trying to be racist. Like, holy crap. Gremlin says, so you mean to tell me that his daughter couldn't remove this dude from that hell? What a POS. Absolutely. Let's see. Rob Morgan says, I didn't even know Grady from Sanford and Son was still alive. The best part of this stream, Jeremy's reaction. Yeah, dude, the whole thing was just, that was wild. That was wild. Yeah, I've got my other camera because my main camera is screwed up. Axel Jensen says, early morning CobraCast is goated. SBC says, just an FYI, Ryan's ASMR is better than Jay's. Forgotten Pepe says, so the moral of the story is that is to keep 6 months of cash stash at home just in case you buy $9.99 worth of crap, but they don't want to take your cards. He even had a $10 bill in his pocket. LOL. Yes. What a complete shit show. What a complete shit show this was, man. It really was something else. Let's see. Algorithmic says, Governor Palpatine, Mr. Wade requests additional tactical cabins. Governor Palpatine, did you contact Fani to destroy her outpost with your Star Destroyer? Mean TV says that lady kept focusing on in the back is let's see, Travian Coot, former publicist for Kanye West and Trump co-defendant. Oh, okay. Let's see. Dorian Shepard says, this guy, my house, I'll take things that never happened for 1,000. Absolutely. Algorithmic says, Sith Lord Daddy, I am the Mandela effect. Alexander says, Bad Blood, the movie. The dude dropped a hint for his movie. Are you kidding me, man? Like, what a disaster. The chat, I need to work on that. How do I? Hang on. I think I can fix that. There we go. Now you can see the chat better. But yeah, what a wild day this has been. So they're breaking right now. I'm going to get a couple things done, and I may go back live again to cover this at least before FNT. We will see. I appreciate you guys. This was fun. This was a shit show. I'll try to go back live when they return. So just keep your notifications on, and we got a long day ahead of us. So let's have some fun with it. Let's laugh at these clowns, and what a complete and total disaster. So I'll see you guys potentially in about another hour, and I'll talk to you then. So other than that, you guys have a great day, and we will talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.